Hey everybody, welcome back to Tuesday night chat with the Muskrat. I'm hanging out with Adam. Matt, I didn't even try to say your last name. Pronounce that for me.
Broxic. Got a silent E.
All right. Brock is sick.
Yep.
Broxic.
With
Fishing for Freedom. So we'll let him get going here in just a minute. But as always, I'd like to kick off the night and say hello and welcome everybody for joining in. If you are joining from Facebook, please consider clicking the link and subscribing to the YouTube channel. But Clearview Outdoors, my buddy Skip, he was like 2 days early. He could not wait for this event, so he made sure he was the first one in chat tonight. But Minnow Dunkers, so Tommy Long's in here hanging out with us tonight. Thanks, Tommy. Ernie Brown, Buckeye, Avid Catfishing, One Ton Fishing Club, Sampy's in the house, Country Boy Catfishing, Jason Lamb. My good friend Paula Smith is in the house. Hello, Paula. My Cajun brother Carol Catfishing's in the house. Hello, Jeremy. Welcome. Fishing with the Chads in the house. Let's see. Brandon Enix. He was on the other night at Catfishing Dreams. Chrissy Brown and Ernie Brown both in here tonight. I love it when the family fishes together and they even watch fishing together. Chrissy's in here. Moonlight was a couple new names in here tonight for me. Moonlight, Mike Irvin's in the house. Two Stands Fishing, Mark from Catfish and Crappie, Whiskers and Stripes. Parker Pursuits is in the house. Those guys clinched a big win last week with the Bluecat tournament. Ohio Catfish Chasers. Derek's in the house. I've been on the phone with Derek for a while tonight. We're trying to figure out some boat engine issues. Georgia Fisherman's in the house. Georgia, thank you for stopping in. Congratulations on your win. Was it last night? So cool stuff there. Mike Greenwell in the house. The names are just piling in. We're up to 33 folks already in chat, and that number will surely climb as we continue to go on. But Len Leaper's in the house. What's going on, fellas, ladies and gentlemen? I don't want to we'll come back to hellos, but Alan's in the house. That's a new name for me as well. Wandering Fisherman. Alexis Dement. Well, there's my daughter. Remember we was talking about the daughter who was there for the event a couple years ago.
Yep, the one that had the birthday cake.
One that had the birthday cake, that was her.
Awesome, glad to have you.
Big Slam. Papaw Ed is in the house fishing with Big Mike. Guys, I'm gonna stop the hellos just for a little bit and let Adam kick things off and talk. Adam is joining us with Fishing for Freedom. He is the director of media for them, and so I reached out to Adam. It was quick, about a week ago, right?
Yeah,
2 weeks ago,
very long. Yep.
About coming on and kind of talking about what Fishing for Freedom is, how it started, and what we can do to help support our veterans and what this event's all about. So, Adam, if you would kind of introduce yourself and give everybody the rundown.
Sure. So my name's Adam Broxic. Like we said, I'm the director of media this year. I've been with Fishing for Freedom as a volunteer for probably 7 years now, which is quite a long time. I grew up in Quincy, so it's kind of been, it's what we do. We all help each other around here. So I've been helping for about 7 years. Graduated college, and then the year after, I jumped on the board. So I've been on the board for Fishing for Freedom for the last 3 calendar years, but 2 event years. This is my second event on the board. So been around for a while. I've got to see a lot of things, meet a lot of cool people, so it's a good time.
Absolutely. So for many of folks in here that have no idea what Fishing for Freedom is, could you give us a kind of a rundown of maybe let's go back to the beginning. Where did Fishing for Freedom start?
So Fishing for Freedom is actually not only in Quincy. There's one in Texas, and I believe there's 1 or 2, maybe more than 2 around the United States. So I believe it started in Texas. I don't know for sure. A couple guys here in Quincy saw what they were doing And they said, let's do that around here. Let's bring another event to Quincy. So now we have Fishing for Freedom Quincy. So we're not really affiliated with each other. Like we don't, it's not a tournament series. We don't really work together, anything like that. It's two separate events. So
Right.
we do kind of our thing. They do their thing. Obviously, if we need to help each other, we'll help each other, but really don't do a whole lot of interaction, whole lot. So Quincy started in 2009, was our first year. So obviously with last year, we didn't have an event. So we're bringing it back this year. Just everything will be the same. First year, we had 16 boats, I believe it was. 2019, we had 184. So that's pretty big, over 10 times growth in 9 years. So it's pretty good.
That is awesome. That is awesome. It's I'll be honest with you. I started in 2017, I believe. I think was my first year, and it changed me. I plan on fishing it every year until I can't do it no more.
That's what a lot of people say. We're glad to have people come back every year.
So kind of give us everybody a rundown on how the weekend works, because it's not just a one-day event. It's a one-day tournament, but it's a several days. It's a 3-day event that leads up to it.
Right. Yep. It's a 3-day event. Starts on Friday. Friday is our meet and greet. We do, sign up, get everything registered, meet your boater if they're there, meet your boater, meet your warrior. We do a dinner. We do a little bit of talking. We don't really do a whole lot of specific stuff. It's just a meet and greet, hang out and have fun thing. We have a band. We do trap shooting. We've got an archery range. Just hang out, have fun. There's a couple hundred people there. You get to hang out and meet everybody. You might run into somebody you knew from high school. You never know. So it's pretty cool. So we have people from 23 different states, warriors from 23 different states. Kind of cool to walk around and see, how fishing is different, from here to Hawaii even. We've got a guy that comes from Hawaii every year.
Wow.
It's pretty cool. It's just kind of an event to meet everybody and then hang out. And then afterwards, everybody goes out and has fun, sometimes a little too much fun. And then that's the end of Friday. Saturday, if you want to, your boater might, your warrior, your boater will talk. They'll go pre-fishing if they want. If not, they'll just hang out, do whatever. During the day, we do registration in the morning on Saturday also. So if you can't make it Friday night, you can come Saturday. We do lunch Saturday at one of the hotels. And then Saturday afternoon at, I believe it's 4:30. I don't have the itinerary in front of me, but I believe 4:30, we get together for our banquet. We call it the Heroes Banquet. Mm-hmm. It's at the Oakland Engine Center in Quincy. Everybody comes together. We do a big banquet. We've got a good meal. We've got speakers. We do the opening ceremony is really cool. It's one of a kind, something that I'm sure everybody remembers it every year.
Yes.
We do a really good job at that. We've got a lot of people that help. We do raffles. We do a live auction at the end. We do all kinds of stuff. So Saturday night's a big, it's a big thank you. We go over the rules, everything like that. So then that's pretty much everything Saturday. Sunday morning is the tournament. I believe tournament hours are 6 to 12. Mm-hmm. We have 4 different fishing locations: Mississippi River, Mark Twain Lake, Mississippi and Quincy, I should say, and then Mississippi and Hamilton, Illinois, Mark Twain Lake, and we have a private lake for our disabled veterans that can't really get around very well. We take them out there so they're a little more safe rather than being on the open water. So then Sunday is the tournament. We do the weigh-ins. There's 4 different weigh-ins. And then everybody comes back to Quincy, and then we do the big award ceremony. Everybody goes through the line. It's recognized. Everybody, big thank yous and sponsor thank yous and stuff like that. And then at the end, we do the award ceremony, and there's food and T-shirts and all kinds of stuff available. So that's pretty much the sum up of the weekend.
Yeah, it made it sound so simple, but there's so much. So those of you that haven't never done it, there's a huge caravan that happens that once the teams weigh in. I don't know, how many boats would you say and boats and trailers you think is in that caravan that goes through? What's the town that we go through?
Coming from where? Mark Twain or
Mark Twain? Yeah.
Monroe City, probably.
Yeah,
usually Monroe City has a big turnout.
Yeah, there was a small town we go through, and I think every man, woman, and child that lives in that town is on the sidewalk, waving flags, hollering. Just you feel like you've won, some kind of big award, and you're in a parade. Their appreciation and support for the event is just mind blowing. I got cold chills coming through there, and it was just super awesome.
Yep, that would be Monroe City. That's our big one coming back from Mark Twain. That's, like you said, everybody lines up the roads. They bring out the fire trucks. They bring out the police. They've set up flags on both sides of the roads for a while, a couple blocks, I believe. The community really gets involved, and everybody stands out there and waves, takes pictures, says thank you and everything. It's
all right. So what could a boater? So we talked a little bit before the show about where we're at as far as. All right, I'll let you cover that. Where are we at as far as veterans? How many people can we get left signed up for this, and how many boaters do we need to be successful?
Yep. So I looked about an hour and a half ago. Right now, registered, we're at 272 warriors. So we have 28 spots left. We have a cap of 300 every year, just because we cannot really support any more than 300 in the events that we have. We're running out of room. So 300 warriors is where we do the cap. So we have 28 spots left as of an hour and a half ago. So if you need to get in, you've got not much time left. Our boaters, we have 81 boaters registered right now. We usually try to go for 200. That way we don't have to put 2 or 3 warriors in each boat.
Right.
The more boaters we have, the better off we are usually. So, yep, we're almost to halfway on our boaters. So now's the time to start digging. Try to get everybody registered, all the boaters registered. We've got people that come back every year that wait for a little while, but now's the time to start kind of reaching out to try to get boaters.
Absolutely. And so what can a boater expect? Because this is one of the things that blew my mind is when they said, hey, do you want to come out and do this? I said, heck yeah, I want to do it.
Yep.
And then when they said, hey, we're going to put you in a hotel and, we're going to feed you and everything. And I was like, wait, what?
Yep. I actually had somebody call me this morning and he said, where would you recommend to get a hotel? And I said, well, where are you from? And he told me, and I said, okay, well, you actually qualify for your hotel. We actually pay for your hotel if you're over a certain distance from Quincy. So he was very surprised by that. But yeah, so boaters, I don't have the exact specs right now. I'm not going to say anything just so I don't have to cover myself. But boaters, if you're over a certain number of hours from Quincy, we do pay for your hotel Friday and Saturday night. Warriors is the same way. It's when you're over a certain amount of hours from Quincy, we pay for your hotel. We do feed you Friday night, Saturday lunch, Sunday breakfast. I forgot to mention that. Sunday breakfast and Sunday lunch is a donation. So we have a grill down there set up, and then you just come up and order what you want, and it's a donation. So, yep, everybody comes to town. Basically, the only thing you have to pay for, warriors or boaters, is your fishing equipment. Boaters actually have to supply it for their warrior too if they don't have it. You pay for your fishing equipment and your gas to get here and home. Fishing licenses are free that weekend. We cover all of that. So it really doesn't, it's not $1,000 to enter tournament or anything like that. So that's a good part about it.
That makes it a lot, especially, not to dig deep into politics or the whole COVID thing, but at a time right now when folks don't have a whole lot of money to do, I know for myself, there's a lot of big events I'd love to go fish this year. And this being one of them, knowing that, hey, my hotel's covered, most of my meals are covered. I like to eat more than I should. So I'll have a little bit of extra expense on food, but man, it's a heck of a deal. And then at the same time, we get to support our vets. And, I see a lot of people in chat right now. We talked about Paul Bird being in there. Rusty Moorfield's in the chat there. And these guys that have done this event and are good friends of mine. Yep. Once you take somebody out, or you even just meeting and talking to them, back at the hotels and whatnot, and it's a big deal to them, and it ends up being a big deal to us. And it's you're doing a good thing for them, but in the end, you feel 10 times more rewarded than they even do.
Exactly.
Just being able to help them out, or just going out and having a good time, fish or no fish. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah. Most of the time, everybody has fun, even if they don't catch anything, like you said. Something else we do that's kind of cool is we have a trash fish division.
Yeah.
So if you're crappie fishing, you catch a carp or something like that, you can still weigh it in. We do a little fun stuff like that. So, yep, we definitely have fun. It's very rewarding. At the end of the weekend, you feel like you've really helped someone. You've made a difference in someone's life, as in, you know, your boater affecting your warrior's life positively. It's really a good time. You leave the weekend feeling really good that you were able to help someone. It's a good time.
Yep. So I don't think we talked about that. We didn't talk about the categories. So what are the categories that? So basically, it's like 3 tournaments going on at the same time.
Yep. So we do. Let me bring it up here so I have it in front of me. We do catfish, crappie, and bass. We do catfish on the Mississippi River and Mark Twain Lake. We do bass on Mississippi River, Mark Twain Lake, and the re-regulation pool of the Mark Twain Lake, which is below the dam down there. And then we do crappie at Mark Twain Lake also. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different divisions, and then different species eat also. So, you know, the guys that fish at Mark Twain Lake for catfish, they're not fishing against the guys that are at, you know, fishing the Mississippi. So,
yeah, which makes things a little bit.
It's a little different.
Things a little bit better in perspective.
Yep.
Some of those pools on the Mississippi there can crank out some good fish.
Correct. Yep.
Although, you know, Mark Twain Lake's known to catch some nice catfish as well. My veteran is my father-in-law. You know, well, one of them. We'll pick up another veteran this year and take it with us. Yeah, him wanting to do crappie, it breaks my heart a little bit. But I love crappie too, and we have a good time, man. First year we was down there, man, we didn't have a stinking clue what we were doing. We got picked up a nail in our tire on the day for on Friday night at the meet and greet. We picked up a nail, and so Saturday all day we tried to find a tire that I'd had an aftermarket rims and tires. We couldn't find a tire, so we didn't get a pre-fish, and it stormed like crazy.
Yep, I remember that.
And so the first day of the tournament, we never even seen the lake, never even been to the boat ramp, and we just put in and said, we're just going to go fish. And we actually did pretty good. We obviously we didn't win the thing, but when we came in and weighed in, they told us that we had the most fish and the biggest fish, and we were like, "What?" Yep,
got lucky.
Yeah, and we just had a blast. Paul says he remembers that storm well. He about sank that pontoon on that one.
Yeah, Paul's had his fair share of mishaps on his way to Quincy. It's like it's cursed or something. Paul's definitely had his hands full.
Yeah, I remember we was hanging out in the hotel parking lot trying to get his truck put back together.
Yep.
That last year. Guys, if you had questions in chat about this event or any right here, what are the dates? There we go. I don't think we even talked about it.
Yep, I forgot to mention that. It's June 4th through 6th. It's the first weekend of June every year.
Where's to get me that information?
Yep.
There's Paul Bird. We will make it no matter what.
Awesome. We're glad to have you, Paul.
Yep. Yeah. And if you guys are paying attention to the excitement that Paul has and the excitement Rusty has, and then, of course, you guys have heard me talk about, you've seen my Fishing for Freedom gear, and I brought it up several times throughout the year. If you do this event and you get part of it, it'll change you. You'll be one of these guys that'll be promising, I'm coming back every year, because it's that cool. There's nothing really like it, to be honest with you. So that, there we go.
Yep, June 4th through 6th. That's correct. It's the first weekend of June every year, but it's basically the first Sunday of June. So if Friday and Saturday are still in May, Sunday's June 1st. It's the first Sunday of June. Yep.
First Sunday of June every year. So, so I know a lot of people are going to ask this question, and I didn't see this here, so we had a wheel bearing blow out completely. People are phenomenal. That's right. I think my daughter's still hanging out in chat. but if you guys get an idea how cool these people are fishing for freedom, my first year fishing for freedom, these guys talked to me about coming out, and I said, man, I'd love to, but it's my daughter's birthday and it's a big deal. She's turning 13, the big teenager, right? And they said, well, does she like to fish? I said, yeah, she loves to fish. I said, well, bring her with you. I said, well, I might be able to do that. And they said, what about, I said, I don't know if her stepmom or my wife would be okay with that. And they said, well, does she like to fish? Yeah, she loves to fish. And they said, well, bring her too.
Yep. I
said, holy cow, really? And I'll tell you, we went to check in our hotel, and she's in chat. She's still hanging out listening. So she'll vouch for me. We checked in our hotel. Her room was completely decorated with happy birthday balloons and banners. And we got down to the meet and greet, and they had her a birthday cake. And I don't know how many people is normally at the meet and greet. How many you said? A couple, 200-300?
Friday night's usually 200-300. Yep.
So my daughter, and she's shy, she got about 200-300 people sing her happy birthday Friday night, and it was awesome. And they made a big deal about it. They made her weekend. They made my weekend. I was already a proud father, and then helping out with this event. But that's just one of the little things, little touches that these guys didn't know me. They had no clue who I was, and but they knew I was coming, and I was coming from Ohio, and they wanted to do something special for her. And these folks are awesome. These folks are awesome. That's a great question right there, Catfish Code.
Yep. So the way I keep mentioning boaters and warriors. So the difference between the two, a boater is the person that has the boat. A warrior is an active duty or a veteran. So the way there's actually a third, which we call a boater warrior, which is a warrior that brings their boat and can also take someone else. So for instance, this morning I had a guy call me from Southern Illinois, Chet Snyder. He said, can I bring my boat and a buddy? And I said, yes. I said, are you a veteran? And he said, no, I'm not. I said, is your buddy? And he said, yes, he is. I said, okay. Well, he will qualify as a boater warrior. So he will also get all of the warrior benefits, and he's a boater. So our warriors, we do raffles. We give away, guns, fishing rods, stuff like that. So if you are a veteran and you have a boater or have a boat, you are a boater warrior. And then we don't like boats full of people coming, obviously, that take out another warrior. But yeah, if you want to bring a person to ride with you and also take another warrior with you, you can do that. When you register, there's a box at the bottom of the registration form where you can request a boater, request a warrior, and we'll do our best to get you paired up.
Outstanding. Yeah, that's that's kind of what I was alluding to earlier. That's when they said, bring your wife, bring your daughter. And I said, they said, we love veterans. They asked me, do you want to fish for a veteran in particular? I said, my father-in-law, he's been, he was a Vietnam vet, 24 years in the service. And they said, well, do you think he'd want to come? And I said, yeah, he would love to come. So next thing you know, we got a family vacation heading out there fishing for this thing, and he eats it up every year. It's what he looks forward to all year long. Mm-hmm. And, like we talked earlier, there's a couple guys that are out there that he looks forward to running into every year. There's a 97-year-old Louis.
Yep.
Who's correct me if I'm wrong, but he is still active lifeguard.
He was as of 2019. Yes. I don't know if he still is, but he was an active lifeguard as of 2019. Yes. At 90 something years old.
I think he was 95, maybe 96, 95 or 90. I don't care. 90 something and still active lifeguard, oldest lifeguard in history. So active lifeguard. Right there from Stan is Adam. Go ahead.
I'm not a veteran. My grandpa was in the Korean War, so he was a veteran. I don't know if he actually ever participated in Fishing for Freedom now that I think about it. But my grandpa was a veteran, and I've got an uncle also that is. So I am not personally, no.
Gotcha. So let's say I'm seeing a lot of awesome comments. People are really excited about this. So let's say somebody is excited. They want to help, but it's just too far for them, or it's just not in the cards for them to drive out there. Is there a way somebody could, maybe make donations to help with the event or help, put something together?
Sure. Yeah. Every donation is welcome and appreciated. You can go to our website, fishingforfreedomquincy.org. There is a sponsored donor page on there where you can make a donation if you'd like. I don't believe there's a minimum on there. So there's a sponsorship form. It kind of tells you a little bit about it. But every donation counts. I always tell people, if you donate $20, that pays for a veteran's meals for the weekend. If you donate $100, that pays for a hotel room. If you donate $1,000, that pays for 10 veterans' hotel rooms. So every dollar helps. We really appreciate it. We've got a lot of really good sponsors. We're a nonprofit. We do this all out of donations. Every year, we have a lot of people that help us. A lot of people in the community back us. We have donations from all over the place. Just 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, we had a donation from Scotland, the country, not Scotland, Missouri, or anything like that. Scotland, the country. So that was pretty cool. I don't know. I didn't look into it to see if it's true, but I looked it up on the map, and it was definitely from Scotland. So I guess we're worldwide now, you could say. So yeah, every donation counts or it helps. We really appreciate it. Like I said, it's fishingforfreedomquincy.org.
There you go, guys. And I can tell you from experience, I know that Rusty had also done this, and Paul had done this, and I'm going to follow suit. And so I'll be trying to put together some kind of, donations or some kind of care package or something for our veterans. I know the year before Rusty's veteran, we all pitched in. He got a brand new rod and reel and line, tackle. I mean, it all went together and made a great package. And so this year, don't know who my veteran will be on top of me and my father-in-law, but whoever it is, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put together a care package and try to make it even cooler than it already is, but something that comes specifically from him and I. And if anybody wants to help with that, well, just get a hold of me, or all my information's in the description. Also, the link for the Fishing for Freedom Quincy page is in the description as well. So like Adam said, if there's anybody that wants to go check it out or wants to make a donation or has more questions that we either missed in the show here or thought of after the fact, you could check out the page. You could also get a hold of me, and I'll get a hold of Adam, or however you guys want to do it. We'll try to get you whatever information. There we go. Thank you, Mike Greenwell. He posted a link up there for us. So thank you, Mike, for that. And then if you guys got, more questions or whatever, Adam is the man in charge. He can take care of you. I've got some experience with the event. I can help you. I can help answer any of the small questions, or put you on the right track to help make this event.
I can add a couple things to that also.
Go right ahead.
If you would like to donate like material goods, you want to donate something for a live auction, we do a live auction at the banquet. At the end of the banquet Saturday night, we do a live auction. All the money goes back to the event for the next year, the next day, whatever we've got going on for that weekend. All the live auction items are donated. You can do that. We do each branch, we do a donation or a door prize, a raffle for. So we have, I don't remember how many exactly off the top of my head. I don't remember how many branches of the military we have, but I'm going to call it 10. So if we have 10 branches of the military and we have someone from each branch at our event, we have 10 of the same item, and we draw one name out of each branch for that item. So if we have a Marine, Army veteran, and an Air Force veteran all there, we will draw 3 different names for 3 of the same item. So it's, if it's a Lew's fishing reel or a Rip and Lips rod, or whatever it is, we have the same item for each branch. We draw a name out for. We do a couple of those. So if we have a bunch of different if we have 10 different branches and we have 50 different items, we'll do five different names per branch of the military. So that's pretty cool. We do that. We have, everybody gets a gift bag, a goodie bag. So all of our warriors, all of our veterans get it's usually like a cooler or something small like that. This year we might do a bucket or something plastic, something that's useful on your boat. We do the warriors and boaters get a little bit different items, but we do, like sometimes it's a glass cup, sometimes it's a toolkit, a blanket, stuff like that. So everybody kind of goes home with something too. Sometimes you get gift cards, like that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've got Fishing for Freedom. Hang on a second, turn myself down here. I've got Fishing for Freedom stuff all over my house, over a couple years worth. Like you said, blankets, cups, koozies, duffel bag, coolers. Like you said, everybody walks away. And even when you walk in the door, you get like raffle tickets, and they have all these donations set up, and some of them are set up just for boaters to put their tickets in if they want to try to win that prize, or some of them are set up just for warriors, and some of them are boaters and warriors. And man, there's so much neat stuff that goes on and give so much giving back. It's mind blowing. I don't know how you guys do it, honestly.
A lot of good support. We've got a lot of people that help us.
Here's a question from Paul. If you didn't see it there, you do another cat fundraiser tourney?
Yep. So Paul's question, myself and two of our other board members, 2018, we got together and we said, we're going to do a Fishing for Freedom fundraiser catfish tournament. So it was a fundraiser for the Fishing for Freedom event. We did it ourselves. I think the first one was in August or September, and we did it 2 years in a row. Last year, obviously, everything changed, so we couldn't do it last year, but we did it 2 years in a row. We raised a lot of money. I believe it was $5,000 the first year and $3,000 the second year. So we had a really good fundraiser tournament here in Quincy. A lot of our boaters and some of our warriors even came. Paul came and a couple other guys with him. Corn Dog came with him, and I'm not sure exactly who all else came with him, but yeah, we did a tournament, fundraiser tournament past 2 years, or in 2018 and 2019. Last year we didn't do it. This year we'll see how things are going. I've got a lot on my plate this year. We'll see what the COVID stuff does, what the river levels do. We could have another record flood year. We don't know. I shouldn't have said that because I probably just jinxed us, but we could have a big flooding in this year and have to deal with that. So Paul, we'll let you know. We'll see how we do it. The past two were in August and September, so it'll probably be either July, August, or September if we do it.
So Jim Buckeye, he asked how many boat openings there are. So
yep. So right now we've got 81 boaters registered. Our goal is 200 boaters every year. So we're not quite to halfway. We don't shut off the boater registration until closer to the event. So you don't have to register today, but we would appreciate it if you would register sooner rather than later. That way we can get you the proper information so you can book your hotel room, all that kind of stuff. So sooner is better than later.
Yep.
And to that note, our cap of warriors is 300. So if we have 300 warriors, obviously we can't have more than 300 boaters, but usually 200 is our goal. And
absolutely,
we'll see what we can do this year. I think we're going to get close.
Yep. And as much as I hate you said the word, and I hate talking about it, but with COVID lingering and being such a pain in the butt as it is, how are we feeling confident wise as far as the effects of the event and things going on? Because I'd say a lot of people still kind of hesitant because of that.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of things up in the air right now for any event, not just ours. Yep.
Yes.
As of right now, everything is going as planned. Everything from 2019 at our event will be basically the same this year. We're not going to do, as of right now, we're not planning anything different. Everything is business as usual. Obviously, if we have to make changes, we have to make changes. So we'll keep everybody updated. But as of right now, everything is business as usual. Everything's good to go.
Yeah, and if you guys think about it, if that's kind of one of the things that's holding you back from making plans and reservations for your other fishing events for the year, on this one, it's paid for and covered.
Yep.
So you don't have to, you're not worried about, fighting for your deposit to get back. You're not, whatever. You just got to clear your calendar for those 3 days and just sit back and relax because it's a good time. We end up coming down. We usually come down a day early just to have some fun and do a little pre-fishing. And then I think last couple of times, I think because it's 8.5 hour drive after the tournament, we end up staying Sunday night and just driving home Monday. So we're not so tired.
Yep. Yeah, we have a lot of people do that. We pay for your hotel room Friday and Saturday if you're over a certain distance away. So we definitely do our best to help out with that, so you don't have to worry about fronting the cost for basically anything for the weekend.
Yep. Awesome. I'm excited. If I do this, what's that one there? If I do this, I'm going to pre-wish. I would hate to take a bed out and get skunked. I could tell you right now, they don't care.
Yep.
Most of them just getting out there on the water. It's something that most of them can't do. And, but yeah, I feel the same way. I don't want to go. I want to go out there and I want to get on some fish. And that's me by nature, in my boat. I love to watch other people catch fish. And
yep. So the goal is always to catch fish, but to basically exactly what you just said, to mirror what you said. If you don't catch anything, everybody still has fun. We actually have some warriors that come and they're just like, I'm here to have fun. We catch anything. If I catch my personal best, I catch my PB, stuff like that. Some of them will just hang out in the boat and they just like to talk, or, just it's a way to get all of our warriors out into the outdoors, to let them have fun, to say thank you for what they've done for all of us. They really appreciate it, even if they don't catch anything.
Yeah, and see, also there's an event. What is it, on Saturday over at the nursing home?
Yes, that's something else I forgot to mention. Yeah, the Illinois Veterans Home here in Quincy. We do a small tournament for them. They have a little pond there. It's got some bluegill, some catfish, carp, stuff like that in it. We do a small little tournament for those guys. We feed them lunch also. In 2019, we had 22 of our Veterans Home residents from here in Quincy come out to do that. So we have a group of volunteers that go out there and help with that also. So that's another event, another division that we have too.
Yeah, I didn't even know about that event the first couple of years I was down, and I saw highlights coming from. I was like, when did this happen? How did I miss this?
Yep.
And so yeah, we definitely want to try to partake in that event as well.
Yep, we have a lot of people that do that. They'll come down, they'll pre-fish Saturday morning, and then they'll actually go to the Veterans Home and help with that. Help serve lunch, help take fish off the hooks, help bait hooks, help people get around, walk around and say thank you. We have a lot of great people that do a lot of great things for us.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm super excited about it. I'm very thankful that you come on the show tonight and help get the word out there. We got a great catfish community. I know we talked a little bit about what kind of fishing we each like to do. But I can tell you, and these folks in here in chat, we still got 70 folks hanging out on YouTube, and I'm not sure how many is on in Facebook. But we have an awesome community that has rallied and supported so many different people at different times. And I can tell you right now that quite a few of them, if not all of them, got a special place in our heart for our veterans. Yep. Servicemen and women of every different shape and kind, whether it's military, health field, police. So I wanted to get this information out there to them and let people start chewing on it and see if it's in their heart to make it out to the event. And if they can't, then like you said, there's a great avenue. They can still make donations. We can still put together awesome care packages and gifts for the veterans and stuff out there. So if you guys got any other questions, get them in here quick. I know Adam's right in the middle of tearing a motor out.
not exactly in the middle, but yep. We started pulling the motor out of a friend of mine's race car. So when I get done with this, I'm gonna go get my hands a little dirty.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit. Adam's into some dirt track racing, so
yep, that's what we do in the summertime when we're not fishing, or we're not on the river playing around in the water. And another thing, on the website, you can go to the Contact Us page, and you can send our email a message right through there. So if we have any questions that we don't get to on here, you can go to the website and shoot us a Contact Us email through there. We also have a Facebook page. It's Fishing for Freedom, Quincy, Illinois. I'm also the admin on that, so you can contact me directly on there if you'd like. Make sure you go to the Facebook page and like it to keep up with everything that we've got going on. I will tell you that this will be our biggest year. I can't say why, but we have some pretty cool stuff going on. Still working on behind the scenes. This will be our biggest year yet. Hopefully everything goes as planned and we don't have to deal with that F word again, even though I already said it earlier. But hopefully everything goes good this year for us. You can always contact us through Facebook, through the website. We have a phone also, but that's basically for the registration team right now. You can call it and ask questions there, but the easiest way is to go to the contact us page on the website or through Facebook, and one of us will get the information to the correct person.
Here's a question. That's a great one. Is there a rod limit on the boat?
Yes. So we do have a rod limit. You'll have to go. I don't know off the top of my head. I apologize. If you go to the website, the rules are on there. It's all on the. It's under the events page. If you go to the website, fishingforfreedomquincy.org, it's on the events page. I can look it up real quick while I'm talking. But we do have a rod limit. I believe it's the Illinois-Missouri state. Don't quote me on that, but yes, there is a rod limit, just like every tournament. Can't run nets, can't run bank poles, stuff like that. So
right. Brandon asked if I saw Lee's comment. I missed Lee's comment. So Lee Reed, if you had something there or a question, please put it back up. I tried scrolling up quickly, but I don't see it right away. So so there's other thing. Oh, this is a joke. There's other things besides fishing.
Yeah, there is. Believe it or not, I do as much fishing as I can. I tried to last year, but fishing and dirt track racing, my two favorites too. That's definitely. I do a lot of hunting also, so I'm always outside doing something. Even the past couple of days, it's been last Monday I think it was negative 14 degrees here in Quincy. So today it was actually 60 almost. So that's a big temperature swing. So today we're outside working on the race car. Last week we were plowing snow.
Whoops, I clicked on the wrong one. It says Illinois and Missouri has a 2-rod limit. Now you got the racing guys' blood boiling.
Great deer hunting also, yep. I don't race myself. I've got 2 buddies that I help that run IMCA sport mods. We traveled around last year as much as we could. I think we hit 7 different tracks. Our track here in Quincy didn't open, so that was a bummer. Actually for sale right now. We're supposed to close by the end of the month. We'll see, but we run around here a little here and there. We'll travel a little bit to watch, but it's a lot of fun.
Outstanding. Well, Adam, I won't keep you. It looks like most of the questions. Came through. I was going to wait a second to see if Lee Reed had a question for me. Definitely send an email, get a little more info. Got to wait and see what happens next month. Okay. Awesome. Well, Adam, I thank you so much again for coming on. I know you got some plans. I think you're going to, I won't let the cat out of the bag. You're going to be on another famous show in another month or 2.
I believe it's May 2nd or 3rd. Yes.
May 2nd or 3rd. So you guys will be on to watch out for that. We'll have more updated information as we get closer. But again, like Adam said earlier, the sooner you guys can commit to it and give them, it's easier for them to put things together. For these veterans, we have commitments, folks that are going to show up and take them out.
Yep.
Well, Roger. Chad. Actually, my boat's not even going to be on the Mississippi. My father-in-law is the veteran I take every year, in addition to another veteran, and he likes the crappie fish. I love the crappie fish too, as much as I would love to be on the Mississippi because I've never been to the Mississippi with my boat. We will be on Mark Twain Lake in Missouri fishing for crappie, and so even when we had the flood crazy stuff, you guys did a fantastic job, just making changes and getting everybody in and out. I was thoroughly impressed. I don't do a whole lot of tournament fishing anyway, but just seeing how well it was communicated and what the expectations were, I was super impressed. But we did good. I mean, it was flooded. We caught fish. We had a great time. That's fishing.
2019 was definitely a year that's going to go down in our history books for this event and just our area in general. The Mississippi at Quincy is usually around 11 to 12 feet at normal pool. Right now it's like 11 and a half. We hit 32 or 33 feet, I believe.
Yeah.
It was over 30 feet. I know that. I think it was 32 feet, which was just before our event in 2019. So
yeah, they were closing bridges and roads and everything else. We
were scared that we wouldn't be able to get across the river.
Yes.
So they closed a lot of things. The place that I work, actually, my office door was below the river level, if you want to believe that. So that's how bad we had the flooding in 2019. Mark Twain Lake also was, I believe, the highest it's ever been over there. Don't quote me on that, but it was crazy high up there. We had to do a lot of reorganization the week before our event in 2019. It all worked out. We have a lot of great people that help us, and everybody was very happy and very pleased that we still got to have the event. Obviously, we had to cancel a couple things. We had a few people cancel, right before that were either couldn't make it here or other things, but we handled it very well. We've done this a few years, and if we can get through that, we can get through a lot of things. So,
yeah, it was crazy. Matter of fact, we put the boat in that day, and by the time we came back, that ramp was no longer there. We had to go take our boat out somewhere else because that ramp was gone.
Yep. Yeah. Mark Twain has a bunch of high water
ramps.
But yep, I think I was actually at Mark Twain in 2019. I believe I was. Yeah, I think I helped with the weigh-in over there. I was in charge of the escorts in 2019. So I had all the motorcycle guys over there. So that was pretty cool. But yep, it was definitely a difficult year.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to let you get out of here, buddy. I'm not sure how. We need to sneak a couple 30-pounders in that lake.
We need to sneak a couple 30s in every lake.
Yeah. No, thanks again so much for coming in and chatting with us, sharing the information. Guys, like I said, I'll have the information and links available if you guys want to get any more information or help make donations or whatever you guys want to do. But we're going to continue chatting. We're going to continue chatting it up. I got a few other things to go over real quick for the night's over. But Adam, thanks again so much for being here. I appreciate your time. If you have anything else crazy that comes up, or any other cool pictures.
Yeah, we shared a couple cool pictures earlier.
Yeah. Be sure to send them my way, and I'll be in touch with you, buddy.
Yep, and like I said, fishingforfreedomquincy.org is the website. That's where you go to register. Our scheduled events is there. Everything's there if you want to make a donation. If you do anything on that website, go to the homepage and scroll down a little bit. Click on the video. It'll play on the website itself, or it'll take you to YouTube. Watch that video. It's a couple years old, but it really sums up how people feel when they come to our event. I've got cold chills right now just talking about it.
Yes,
it's awesome. I got chills all the way down my body right now. It's really a special event. You really leave the weekend being, you help someone out. You really feel accomplished when you leave. It's a good feeling. So if you can bring your boat, sign up as a warrior or sign up as a boater. Sorry, warriors. We have 28 spots left. Before we started talking, I'm sure we've had a couple more sign ups since then. So if you can help out, bring your boat, sign up as a boater, and we'd appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, buddy. Thanks again, and we will be in touch.
Thank you guys very much. We have a Facebook page also, like I said.
Yep, I will get the links shared out. That video that he's talking about, I was looking for, and I looked for in all the wrong places apparently. But that video is the one that you want to check out. And I know Adam's got plans of redoing it with more updated information, but it gives you a pretty good feel of what that weekend feels like. So be sure to check it out.
That it does.
All right, buddy. Thanks for everything.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
There we go. Well, guys, hey, man, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I still got a few things I'll go over before the wrap the night up. And, of course, we'll talk as long as you want. I don't really have anything going on the evenings. My wife works now during the week and the evening times, and it is just me at the house with the dog. So, as a matter of fact, let me see if anybody. I know we had a real good time last week. With Creole jumped in here. If anybody wants to jump in and hang out, more than welcome to. Throw the link out there for you if you guys want to jump in. So real quick, this last weekend, man, we wrapped up the Winter Blues fishing tournament that Fishing with the Chad put on, and we had a great time. Now, we got our butts kicked on Saturday, as river warriors can sometimes do, but we got out there and we got it done. Huge shout out to Zach. Zach worked on that boat ramp for 2 days, and the Wheelersburg ramp for Greenup Dam is a pretty long, steep ramp, and so he worked pretty hard on getting us in on that morning, and we only managed 3 channel cats, wrong species, but we still had a great time with that. So that was awesome fun. And the big picture is, Dee and Chad put that thing together and raised over $1,500 for charities. And I saw I can't remember, I didn't write down the charities that they went to. I know that a lot of the money went to Patriots tournament that's going on now. When you guys asked what organization I was going to donate if we won, this is the organization here, Fishing for Freedom, that I would have donated to, hadn't given the opportunity. But sorry, I just seen this custom channels. Yeah, we got great job raising money there. Also, another cool video I caught this week. I'm not sure. I watched the replay. I didn't catch it live. But Lyle and Chad started out, and then Mark came in tying rigs there, tying crappie and panfish jigs. Man, I got to be honest with you. I watched that video, and I went on YouTube or Amazon, started looking up how to get started. And I don't know if I can afford to get started from scratch yet. I think I might start piecing things together because I love hand-tied jigs, and those looked really cool. And I never really watched a video on how they were done, and it looks really interesting. I would like to try it. So that was really cool. If you didn't catch that was on Panfish Weekly's page there on Saturday night. Also, my buddy Skip had a cool new video out on Clearview Outdoors that kind of highlighted a little bit the different actions you get some of the popular rod manufacturers out there. So in that video, he kind of breaks down, hanging 10 ounces, or I think he went it by 8-ounce increments, but half a pound, pound and a half, 2 pounds, I think, as far as he went up to. Hanging weights on these rods side by side to kind of give you a side by side comparison on how they on the action of how they work, and what may or may not work for you. The rods, I'll be honest with you, in my personal opinion, a lot of rods are personal preference. There's rods out there that, $30, $40 range, clear up to $130, $40, $50 range, and even higher if you depending on what your taste is. So they're all a little bit different, have a little bit more to offer than each, manufacturer is. So it's a cool video to kind of give you a little bit of insight on that. Coming up this week, let's see. I can't remember. Yeah, I like the ugly stick right there, John Boy's catfishing. I actually was wrong the other night. I thought the world record was caught on a Big Cat Fever rod, but it was actually an ugly stick. And me and Kevin was talking about it. He sent me the link, and it was an ugly stick. So if you talk about, what you got to have or what you don't have to have to catch big fish, world record caught on an ugly stick. Of course, you've always heard stories of somebody catching a 50-pounder on a Snoopy pole. Not ideal, but could be done. So And then also, let's see, coming up this week, Friday night, I know that Catfish and Katie Collins put together basically a YouTube guide for the weekly channels and times. At that time, the Friday night was open, but it looks like Stan the Man is going to be jumping in on Stan. Forgive me, I can't remember what the name of the show is. We all got cool names for the show, but I don't remember what the name of the show is. But Stan is going to be on this Friday night at 8 o'clock, and he's going to have old Tim Scott, who's hanging out in here. All right, Muskrat, are you ready in 5 minutes? What are we ready for, buddy? I'm ready right now. Tim, you'd be more welcome to hop in and chat with us anytime. I know that you are scheduled to hang out Friday night with Stan. I am looking forward to that, as always. But there's a link if you want to jump in, or if anybody else wants to jump in. The 141 was caught on a big cat fever rod. You're right, but the world record, I believe, was the 143, and that was on the ugly stick. On the ugly stick, because you could beat that with an ugly stick. So I believe the topic for Friday night is transitioning into spring, or hopefully warmer waters. I can be honest with you. This week with cold weather and ice and snow we had here kicked our butt. My wife got stuck in the driveway twice. I had to call a tow truck twice to this house. One, we got the car stuck, and her trying to get the car out. The car actually went in limp mode. I guess we was a little hard on it. We were really trying to get it out. And we ended up taking it to a dealership, and it ended up being the car was due for a software update, kind of like your phone has to get updates. Apparently our car had to get a software update, and we got that done. And then she slid off the driveway and got stuck again and had to get a tow truck out today. Abbott says, Tim will blow your mind every time. Anytime I get to talk to Tim and listen to what he's got to say, I'm mind blown, and I sit here and start writing stuff down, and then go back to the drawing board, and it ends up being a fantastic time. It usually ends up being a late time. I've caught myself staying up to 2 o'clock in the morning, hanging on to his every word. So I don't want to blow his head up too much, though. Tim could be on you nights week and have stuff to talk about. I'm guessing he could say he could be on every night of the week. I'm ready. I ain't got nothing to do. I got some sweet tea and just hanging out. J-Dog's in the house. Oh, I forgot, man. There were so many people that came and went. I apologize if I know I missed several people. P City Smitty, Catfish Fever, Outdoors, Brian B, Parker Pursuits. I'm trying to scroll back up. I know I missed so many people tonight, but Adam was gracious enough to come on in and hang out with us, and I wanted to get right to the action and let him get back to doing what he was doing. It was awesome. Like I said, I'm going to follow suit with kind of what we did the last year, which was we put together a big fishing package, just tackle, gear, and all that kind of stuff that to help whatever veteran we get to take out down there. They hook them up with a lot of gear and a lot of stuff themselves, but something straight from us is always something special. Oh, there he is. What's up, buddy?
So what's going on, everybody?
We are talking catfish. Where are you at?
I am in middle Michigan, in the middle of nowhere. It much resembles the place that I live, only where I live is much better. Yeah.
Man, I'm ready for the snow.
If you can see it, it's like the busiest street ever for no one living here. It's you can hardly turn left or right during the day, but no one ever stops. Yeah, it's like Hotel California.
And nobody lives there.
Yeah, not really. There's like 1,500 people that live here, but like Route 46 goes through it, and during the day, it's might as well be Chicago traffic. You can't even turn left or right. It's crazy. They're gonna run your ass over. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You're
So
fine.
anyway,
It's
let's
after
get on
night.
to catfishing because I'm not really good at everything else besides that.
Yeah, I'm not good
Ask
at
my
traffic
wife, she'll
reports
tell
either. All right, so what can we expect, man? This snow's going to start thawing out, and things are going to start flooding and rising. What can we expect out of these fish now?
Okay, so give me a scenario because you can expect different things depending on different parts of the country, whether it's south, middle, or north, all the way up from now till April 15th. So which one you want to know about?
Well, I'm going to be greedy and say I
You're
want
in
to know.
Kentucky.
Like, I'm in Southern Ohio.
So
I'm in
you're
Southern
in the
Ohio.
middle zone. You're in the middle zone. So late 1 degree of longitude from your area to mine. So mine starts where catfish come out of their wintering areas, which means it's not the catfish that are up in the shallows. It's not in the winter. It's not the ones that are wintering below dams. It's the majority of the population that winters in slower, deeper water, especially off of drops. Let me get this. So direct drops, not side drops, direct drops. So you got the current.
Yeah. Did we lose him? Looks like he's got some connection problems. Give him a second there, see if we can't figure it out. Daniel says he's going after some big blues tomorrow. Supposed to rain like crazy on Thursday. There we go. There's what I'm talking about, Willard. Waiting on Epic to pull in some donkeys with donkey weights. Hey, Becca, I didn't see you sneak in, Mud Tramp. Thanks for hopping in, hanging out with us. I'm not sure if you got to catch the show earlier, but had a great show. Something that's near and dear to my heart. The Fishing for Freedom event is the highlight of my year. Well, I'm going to take that off of there because we'll let him come back in. He should have the link. Yeah, it just bailed out on him. I feel the same way. That's all right. I'll throw the link back up in case he needs it again. I've been here the whole time. Well, you sneaky. I didn't see you. And it's probably my fault because I was pretty in tune with what Adam was doing. I was trying to keep up with chat and make sure I get everybody's questions answered, but hopefully Tim will pop back in here in a second. I'm gonna have to walk around the corner if he don't get run over. There it is. Yeah, Epic has a video of making donkey weights. Hey, I think it's a great idea. Even on the Ohio River, we don't get like the crazy Mississippi River currents and stuff, but there are times when I'm up by the dam and whatnot where I want that bait directly underneath the boat. I don't want it. That's how you get tangles and run into problems. Is we'll get right up in that crazy stuff and we'll find them slick, calm pools, and we'll try to spot lock in those calm pockets. And that boat might spin 360 degrees several times in that calm and that dead water. That's why we normally don't cast out. We fish directly underneath the boat. And them big donkey weights holding our bait directly underneath the boat as we spin around and move to keep them lines from crossing and getting tangled up underneath the boat is exactly what I need. So even though you don't fish donkey waters, the Mississippi, don't think that those big weights won't be an asset to you at some point in time because they will. Kelly, what's up, buddy? Thanks for stopping in. Back, looks like I'm going to have to rewatch this tomorrow and see what Epic had to say. He was only in for a hot minute, unless you're talking about he's coming back in, and you're going to want to watch it to see what he said. If he doesn't make it back in, like I was saying, he will be on Friday night with Stan the Man, and I'm not sure who made the comment, but I think Tim could probably be on a show every night of the week and not run out of stuff to talk about, and we would be right there watching it. So, not you. It's never saying I was lurking. That's all right. There's times to lurk. There's times to lurk. I lurk every now and then too. There's times where I turn live shows on. Guys will be live, and I'll turn it on and either just let it play. Parker, that all depends, man. That has a lot to do with a whole bunch, man. It has a lot to do with the current that you're in. It has a lot to do with the size trolling motor that you got, the bigger pound thrust you got, or the bigger the battery. So if you're on a 36 volt system, you're going to last 3 times longer than what you do on a 12 volt system. For me, it's the biggest trolling motor I can get. So for me, I have a Tarova 36 volt 112, and I am very blessed to have that. I actually won it on one of them game pages. I played a game for like $20, and like weeks later, the game was finally full, and I won a $2,800 trolling motor. And it never happened again, but you know, it a lot of variables there. But Lee, actually, we did this last week. We actually went up the Cider River out of Portsmouth, out of the Ohio, looking for fish. And we caught a couple channel cats in there. I do catch some blue cats in there. I usually don't catch many of size. I know that there at times will be flatheads up in there. I usually only go up to the second bridge. I've never really gone past that second bridge. But yeah, we like fishing it. Haz, what's up, buddy? Thanks for stopping by. We had some cool information on there. There's a spot on James at 10 ounces or more won't hold. Yeah, same here, bud. On the Ohio, there's at times I'll run 20 ounces and try to keep my bait straight underneath the boat, and at times that's not enough. Let's see. Rex, yeah, that don't even come close. It was more than awesome. It was epic. You know how many times I find myself laughing now when I say something's epic, just because Tim Scott's the first person I think of every time I say that was epic. It's like I gotta change the word to something else, because he's monopolized the word epic because he's Tim Scott. I don't have a boat, but fish a couple buddies that have boats with spot lock. It's a game changer. Yeah, it is a big deal. Technology and the way that you know, you can spot lock, or even with the navigation stuff on there, I can point the trolling motor which way I want it to go and lock onto something across the river or across the lake, and that will be the it'll just take me right on that way. Just hit the thumbs up. Thanks, Laura. I always forget to talk about the thumbs up. Half the people are gone, but if you haven't hit the thumbs up yet, please consider hitting the thumbs up for me. Appreciate that. Like I said, the links for the Fishing for Freedom event is in the description. All my stuff's in the description. I actually talked to somebody today who was asking about my rods and reels that I use, my address. So I actually got a couple. Well, I threw the link up there again in case somebody, in case he can't get back in or somebody else wants to hop in and chat for a little bit. The link's back out there. But check the mail today, and I got another cool surprise. I knew Lee Reed was in here a little bit earlier, but check that out. The Muskrat. This is actually the second one that Lee Reed has made for me. The first one right there, pretty in pink. Uncle Lou's. Now I told Lee I would give these boards a shot. You can tell they're nice and pretty and clean because I haven't got to run them yet. But I ran enough boards to know that the quality of these boards is really good. So Uncle Lou's, if you guys are in the market to try some out, I know that Kevin Palmetto Cats also has some of these exact same boards, and I believe he has got to run his. And so far, I think that he is like, oh, there he is. Kevin's in chat. From what I know, he's been liking his boards. I am so ready for things to thaw out so I can get back on the water. Get back out on the water, and pulling boards is up on Hoover is, as you guys saw last year, I fell in love with it. It was, well, there's Skip right there in Clearview Outdoors. We are waiting for the water to clear off, the ice to clear off, so we can get back on the water and get the dragging boards. We love it. There you go. Tommy Long's in there. Rocky Fork, when it thaws out for the boards. Yeah, I seen somebody post a picture of Rocky Fork earlier today. Looks like it's going to be a couple more days for it to thaw out. We keep getting days like today. It won't take long. That's for sure. So I'm excited to get out there. And did you guys do any good? Trevor told me that you guys were heading back up the Buckeye. You guys ain't going to have ice for much longer. After losing anchors, finding snag anchors sometimes multiple times, a single trip spot lock is a changer. Yeah, that is a fact. Kevin, you might be able to help me out with this question because, like I said, I haven't been able to hang any weight on those boards. So I'm not 100% sure. I don't hang a whole lot of weight on my boards to begin with. I'm usually dragging. So for me, I'm dragging typically 1.5 ounces to 3 ounces, depending on where I'm at and what I'm doing. So it really doesn't have to hold much weight. And even then, the line is back behind it, dragging. So it's not really suspending much weight beneath it. There are times I will suspend baits directly underneath the boards, up off the bottom. And even then, I'm only trying to keep it directly under the board, moving at 0.5, 0.3 to 0.5, depending on where I'm at. So for me, it doesn't take a whole lot of weight. What makes a good planer board to me is how fast, how quickly they get out, and how true they run next to the boat. If they get out there quick and hang out next to the boat, and I can control them really well by how much line I put out, that's what makes a good board to me. How much weight will they suspend? Kevin says all the weight. I drug 2 ounces last weekend, had plenty of boards sticking up out of the water. So right there, P City, anchor buoy. Or anchor buoy. Anchor buoy will save your back. It'll save your life in some instances. If you haven't, I think I've talked about these in my live shows out on the water. But an anchor buoy could save your life, and it will definitely save your back. Make that buoy ball pull the anchor for you. If you don't know how that works, there's videos out there. A couple of my lives, I went through it. Chris Souders has a great video out there on how the anchor buoy ball works. Make the buoy ball pull the anchor for you, and it'll save you. And the other thing is, use that anchor buoy ball when you're anchored up in current. If you find yourself in an emergency situation, a big log comes down the river, gets up in your anchor line, you're on anchor and a barge is coming in and you've got to move quickly with that buoy ball, and make sure there's a knot on the end of your anchor rope that ain't going to allow the ball to come off. But you could throw the whole anchor, buoy, ball, rope, and everything overboard and get out of the way. Let things clear, or whatever the case may be, clear the log out of your line or whatever, and then come back. And your anchor, your buoy ball, and everything's still there waiting on you when it's safe to retrieve it. So an anchor buoy is a game changer. It's a back saver. Could be a life saver in some instances. So if you don't own a buoy ball and a retriever for whatever they are, I think it's like less than $20 for the clevis that slides up and down the line, and then maybe $20 for the ball itself. You'll thank yourself later. Spot lock is horrible in shallow water. I haven't really had that experience. As long as I've got current or wind to hold the boat true, I really don't have an issue. Spot locking on a lake that's windy, yeah, I've had issues where the boat wants to spin around. Need a bit of weight to hold lines down when the stripers get deep. Sometimes spot lock isn't enough. Right there. Has life. That's one thing I thought about on your boat. I know you've got a great anchor system set up on the front of your boat, but have you thought about a trolling motor? I don't see a way to even mount a trolling motor up there, although I'm sure there's a way. Yeah, that's another one right there. Chris did put another video out today. I drop a link. I can do that. All right. Tim says he's got signal now. Yeah, Chris Souders put another video up. I think that's what you meant for drop a link. There's the link coming at you. I feel like when Chris Souders put his video out today, he was talking directly to me. He, I find myself at times, targeting the same spots, the same areas that I've done well in previously. Even like right now, I'm going back and looking at videos I did this time last year. Fishing warm water discharge, fishing shallows, fishing creek mouths, and looking at that information and saying, okay, this time last year or the year before, this is where I was finding fish. This is where I was successful. I'm going to go back and do that and teaching myself to try new things all the time. There he is.
Mr. Muskrat.
What's up, buddy?
Oh, this is rough up here. It's not like they're having brownouts like Texas, but they're having like internet outs. I don't know what or why, but everybody's complaining about it in Michigan.
Huh. We's happy you didn't get hit by a car. He's talking about traffic right before you disappeared on us.
Yeah, well, cars avoid me. It's fine. They see me and they just drive around.
There you go.
I wish that's how it was, but no, I haven't. I've had a lot of injuries in my life, but never been hit by a car. Thank God.
That's a good one. So before we separated, we was getting ready to dig into what the fish in this area are going to start doing now that this ice is all melting and snow's all melting off and the rivers are about to take on some water.
All right. So here you have an interim period. You've got that interim period and I get excited every year about this time, just like I am right now. I mean, I'm like the guy that's so, I would go tonight because I'm so stupid still. And every time I get out there, I'm like, yeah, I should have waited, because it's just one of those things. You have to, if you just can't help yourself in our area, from Kentucky all the way up to northern Illinois, when all that water is rushing into the rivers and such, you still can't expect a great normal river summertime bite. You just can't.
Right.
So if you're on, it doesn't matter if you're fishing a strip mine lake when it's still kind of cold, even if it's warm out, You've got the sun beating down on you. Just say it's March 5th and it's awesome. It's been great for 2 days. And you go, man, this is just fantastic. It's beautiful. The birds are chirping. Everything's going good. But yet the bite sucks and you wonder why. Well, because catfish do not deal with us. They don't deal with warm-blooded situations. It's a lot slower than I mean, we warm up like this, we perk up like that, we animals are flying, things are going, everything's awesome, blah blah blah, but the fish are still sedentary, and it usually takes about 2 more weeks. I mean, if I could do a raise of hands of all the guys that are in chat right now, that they'd say, yeah, I've done the same thing. Everybody raise their hand. Yep. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I think it's great because we are terrestrial beings. We have a brain. We're thinking about things. We get excited about things. And one of the reasons why is because our brains, just like deer and rabbits and everything else, with a sentient being type brain that is aware of itself, it is not cold-blooded. It says, I'm excited for the upcoming. Catfish have no excitement for the upcoming season. It is what it is when it gets there. That's it.
Right.
They have no way to predict what's going to happen next week. They're not going, wow, I think it's going to be, it's really good today, and I think it's going to be better next week. They have no idea. They are purely reactionary. And that is the thing that we have to keep in mind, because otherwise we will get excited like I'm about ready to do. And I know it, and I'm dumb because I'm a human, and I'm going to go, yeah, I'm excited. And, I have to, like I say in my videos, I have to feed my big catfish addiction. And yeah, it's going to, and it does every year. It's going to spank me a few times. And then I'm going to feel bad, and I'm going to go through the whole range of emotions of what, okay, I got on the river. Why didn't I catch the fish I expected to catch? It's just, it's as the day is long.
Right.
And almost everybody in chat knows the same thing. We're going to do it, and we're going to keep doing it. It's just, that's our nature. And I'm worse. I'm probably worse than anybody else because I'm jonesing so bad to catch fish. It's great. I drove down to a frozen river and stared at it for like an hour on my way home last week. I did. I stared at it. And I imagined the fish underneath it in the summer, but I imagine what is not there right now, because there is pretty much nothing there. It's all the headwaters below Starved Rock Dam. There's a few fish there, but as far as being able to have like great like takedown success, it's not there. I know it, but I wish for it, and I might just go early and be disappointed. And I know I'm going to be disappointed, but it is what it is.
Yeah, but we'll never know until we try.
Yeah, I know because I've already been through that, but I'm just too stupid. I'm just going to keep I'm just going to keep saying that I think maybe this will happen, or maybe I'll be. No, it's not going to happen like that. But yet I will try it.
Yeah,
Sean
we got one warm day here. What's that? I said we got one warm day, and that's all it took for me. My blood's boiling.
Oh, exactly. One warm day, and I'm like a dude at 10 minutes after his first wedding. I'm all reared up, and she's just not ready to go. That's it. It's just how it's gonna work. I can't tell you how many Aprils I went fishing and just could not understand at like 20 years old why the fish weren't like ready for me. I was ready for them, but they were not ready for me. Okay, so let's talk about realistically what is going on in the next 2 weeks. So you're in the mid-range. How much snow you got on the ground?
Before today, 8 inches. After today, like 2.
Well, that's a great thing. That's actually a great thing, because the more snow you can get rid of early, the better your chances are once the pre-spawn starts. Because the worst thing you want to have happen during the pre-spawn, especially where you're at and where I'm at, well, anywhere pretty much, is that massive snow melt right at the right time. Let's just say late April into early May. We do not want, as far as fishing success goes, you do not want a massive amount of water piling in the rivers, piling into the riverine lakes right at that critical point of time in which it's going to take every fish off of your normal habitat and throw them like up into the trees and in the shallows and spread out where you can't really target them. That's the major problem. Because any fish is targeted at any time, but if you coincide with factors that play against you, that's when it becomes rough. And the reason I know that is because I've been fishing for catfish for 35 years. I didn't understand it at all, 20 years ago, 15 years into it. I just didn't. I was scratching for answers and thinking about catfish more as a thinking being, like, well, why wouldn't they be at the warm water discharges? I would be there. Why wouldn't you be in the farm fields eating all of the, night crawlers that are coming up?
Right.
But you just can't, anybody can have any idea about catfish that they want. I have no problem with that. But me, I have decided that I am going to stick closely with the scientific mantra of catfish are cold-blooded. They have no idea that they don't have a past and they don't have a future. They are in the moment. So if you're a creature that's in the moment, controlled by your inherited information, so your smarts are what got passed down over hundreds of thousands of years, so that you don't zig when you should have zagged, because they don't have the opportunity to make mistakes like we do. So as long as I can keep myself from running amok, which is difficult, which is absolutely difficult, because, like I said right before I don't know if you guys heard it, but I'll wake up at 3:00 in the morning, and I'm 51 years old, been doing this a long time, but I'm still, and I'm not saying they're half-baked ideas. I'm just saying that I'll get an inkling that maybe I've been wrong for 30 years, and maybe I need to look at this thing a whole different way. And luckily, I've been more right in the last 20 than wrong, but in the first 15, I was so wrong, it was just ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Redonkulous, actually.
I find myself every week finding out I was wrong about something. Yeah.
And, being a science guy, the first thing in science you have to do is you have to, you have to have a theory. Okay. So that's a thinking theory based on evidence of what you've experienced so far. And so this thinking theory, you can have all the thinking theories that you want, but you have to either prove it right by evidence or prove it wrong by evidence. And it's very difficult if you're just a weekend fisherman, and there's no doubt about it. If you're a weekend fisherman, it's very difficult to prove a theory right or wrong. And you have to go about it systematically, and you can't just do it over a period of 1 year. You have to do it over a period of a constant bunch of years, and you have to take the factors into, you got to take high water, medium water, low water, you got to take high, all this stuff, but you have to throw out all those circumstances and get to a fair medium to say to yourself, was I right or was I wrong? And most of the time it's not an absolute right or wrong. It's just, I was on the wrong track, and I need to adjust my fishing theory and my patterns to make sure I have success. And I wasn't really able to accept that at like 20 years old. I had I had preconceived notions of what I was supposed to be able to do, and then the fish proved me wrong about 55, 70% of the time. So then I said, I'm doing something wrong. I'm doing something absolutely wrong. And, you know, I didn't have an internet to talk to, and I didn't have parents to talk to as far as, you know, I had great parents, but they didn't know crap as far as fishing goes. I mean, they knew about Zebco 33s and pistol grip handles. That was about it. And that's fine, you know, and you could try to ask your local bait shop guy in catfish land, and he's going to steer you wrong every time back in those days. He's going to tell you the most ridiculous thing in the world. And I tried some of those ridiculous things in the world, and I said, what am I doing? I should just you know, go for the basics. I don't need to, you know, get a treble hook the size of your hand and put like 5 pounds of chicken liver on it and try to bounce it, you know, in 12-mile-an-hour current below, you know, the Carpentersville Dam on the Fox. It's just not going to work. Yeah.
So here's a question for you. It's more on the scientific side. We were having this conversation the other day as far as the snow melting off. And when there's snow has a high concentration of nitrogen.
Yep.
And so when that snow melts, is that spike in nitrogen something to take in consideration in the water, or is that once it melts, does it also not have the concentration as high, or is it even a factor?
All right. There's lots of things going on in water, especially with snowmelt, with runoff, with farm pesticides, farm herbicides, all that kind of crazy stuff. So a lot of times when I'm trying to get to the root of the answer, I have to throw out, even though my mind says, let's take in consideration every single little facet. But sometimes you have to look at the big picture a little bit and throw out the little tiny things. So there is no evidence that there's no empirical evidence that has been published that says snowmelt has an effect on catfish. But there is one thing that there is empirical evidence on. And this empirical evidence says that if the pH of water, and I think most people would understand a pH. So a pH, right. the neutral balance of pH is the number is 7.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you get -7, it's alkali. If you get +7, it is acidic. So melting snow, we all know, depending on where it comes from. So if it comes from a big city of concrete and everything else, it could have either an acidic or an alkali on a freaking crazy scale.
Right.
So if it's in the country, it's going to have a natural, either acidic or a alkaline base based on the topography naturally. And it does vary from area to area. But we do know one thing. If it gets too crazy, +7 or -7, it completely will shut fish off. It just doesn't really matter. You know, it could be, you know, -4.5 or +9.0, and fish will clam up. And it's not just catfish, it's all of them. They'll go to from acting normal to like trying to breathe.
Right.
I literally think that pH level is a major factor after storms that most people really don't pay attention to. Okay. There's no fishing magazines that pay attention to it. You know, how many times have you heard somebody talk about a pH factor when you're talking, you know, on a live chat like this or a seminar or whatever? But I can actually throw fish into a artificial situation like a large fish tank. Let's not talk about the little, you know, little bitty 1,000 gallons. I can throw them into a non-feeding tizzy for days just by introducing acidic or alkaline water, just say the biological filter all of a sudden starts to malfunction, and then you've got a problem.
Right.
And it will close lip those fish. And there's
Yep.
no doubt in my mind that is one of the problems with not just rising water, because everybody in the chat that has been a catfisherman will say rising water is going to a lot of times create a better bite. And there's no doubt about it, because you've got that fight or flight instinctual situation where the parents of millions of years of evolution has basically written into the DNA of these fish that if something drastic is going to go on, that they're either going to feed hard and get ready for it or just avoid it altogether. So yeah, it's kind of a fine line. Most of the time when we see storms coming, the river's going to come up. The river came up a foot. It's pretty good feeding for a while, and then it's just Katie bar the door. Let's just shut down for a period of time until things level out. And actually, evolution wise, that's actually a pretty smart thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They get left behind.
Well, and they just they're not able to remember things. They're not, when we talk about the past, okay, a lot of things that help us in the future is because we screwed up in the past, or somebody else in the past screwed up, and we go, oh, we're not doing that again. Well,
Right.
they just don't have that advantage like we do.
Right.
So they have to be reactionary at all times based on what? There's only a few things that can be reactionary on. It's not really what's coming. It's what happens right now and what's going to happen in the immediate future. So they're either going to put the feedback on, get ready, or they're going to pull off the shallows and go deep and hide this thing out. So
you kind of answered. There was a couple questions I think it pretty much.
And I'm trying to get to this. Sorry, this is such a huge thing to think about.
You're answering so many of them at the same time, because guys were asking about runoff and all this stuff. So it's all the same.
Yeah, it is. But I'm talking about the base root of it. But now we talk about the circumstantial evidence. The circumstantial evidence says that at certain times a year, they're going to act a little bit different. So when you get into this period, and that's how I started this whole thing, is say, okay, what area of the country are we talking about? Are we talking about north, middle, or south? Because those have three distinctive things that they're going to kind of levy towards, depending on where you're at. So the north, we all know, is heavy ice, heavy snow, very cold water. The middle is kind of medium. And then the south is like, well, okay, it might get down to like 38, 39, 40 degrees, but it's not going to stay there that long.
Right.
Only that Mississippi River that comes clear from Canada all the way down carries that cold water and keeps things to a standard operating thing where I can say, okay, this is pretty much what it's going to be in Louisiana, because Louisiana is going to get our water that we had 2 weeks ago.
Right.
But then you start getting all that Mississippi River drainage that comes from east to west, and it's a lot warmer water. So that has to be adjusted for. And honestly, that's how come a lot of people that talk about different situations say, oh, no, that's not even what's happening at all where I'm at. But yet you have to look at the big pie, the huge pie, and to be able to say that, okay, we've got a tribute to everything. The Mississippi is the major lifeblood. Okay?
Right.
Everything else is a tributary. There isn't one main river in the United States that isn't a tributary of the Mississippi River. Okay?
Yeah.
So if a person's going to think about the true nature of fish, especially since all these fish have come from, they're a derivative of the Mississippi River. That is their original, that is the original spawning, whatever. But I mean, the Mississippi River drainage is the mother river of all of it. And I'm not just saying that because I fish the Mississippi River. It wouldn't matter what river I fish. It is one of those things. So if you're going to get to the root equation of catfish, you have to stem it off of the mother river. And it wouldn't matter if it was the Tennessee and everything else is a tributary of the Tennessee. Fine, you have to go there. But since we know that the Mississippi River actually carries colder temperatures longer than the rest, because of course it derives in Canada, and we all know that that's colder. So then you have to adjust your fishing period based on whatever the drainage system is of the river that you fish. So if you fish the Tennessee, it's a little bit different. If you fish the Creole catfish, he fishes basically the Mississippi River, but there's also the Atchafalaya that comes off of that, which is actually fed into it. You got to kind of take that stuff in consideration, but you don't have to be a darn rocket scientist to figure this stuff out. It's just going to affect it. If you're fishing a low ground, slower water that sucks up more sun energy earlier and starts out at a higher temperature, you're going to say, okay, this is not necessarily going to be the same way in the Illinois River as I'm fishing at 51 degrees at April 25th, because it's mostly going to be warmer. It's like fast forward. The farther south you go, the more fast forward it is.
Right.
So you can start using more summer tactics while I'm still using winter tactics and wintering whole, or say early pre-spawn tactics up here, as everybody else is almost in summer tactics once you get south of Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, stuff like that.
Yeah, for me,
I kind of tend to
just do it all based off of water temperature.
What's that?
I said, yeah, I typically base my fishing style off of the temperature. Once I hit certain points, things change regardless of the date.
But here's one thing, Mr. Muskrat, that you got to remember. We all got sold a lie by in-fishermen 30 some years ago because they didn't know any different. They didn't know it was a lie. 50 degrees is not necessarily the magic number. Okay. It also has to coincide with the diurnal nature, DINUNURL, or however it's spelled. That happens to deal with the amount of daylight that goes on. Because, and I figured this out because I was looking for that 50-degree magic number where I was at. And sometimes 50 degree, the actions of the fish actually happen at 45 degrees or happen at 55 degrees. That 50 may have been a happy medium, okay? But it was more to do with the amount of daylight, because I ran an underwater camera on, and I did this 3 years in a row. I ran an underwater camera on a wintering population of fish, okay? In the Illinois River. And those fish for 3 years in a row, no matter what the temperature of the river was, they were still there till April 15th. After April 15th to April 16th, they started to leave. And while there was 1,500 fish there before, there was only 800 fish or so there by April 15th. And by April 16th or 17th, they were all gone. Didn't matter the water level, didn't matter the water temperature. That sunlight told them that they better hurry up.
The green growing days have probably more to do with anything, I would imagine. I know my buddy's a beekeeper, and bees are kind of like catfish in a way, the way they're instinctive.
Yeah.
And everything he gauges things on is based on green growing days.
Okay.
And So I'm thinking it has a lot to. It's kind of sounds like it's tying into what you're talking about now.
Too far away from the Wi-Fi.
Yeah. One Ton says so. Big live baits is a pre-spawn tactic. We can hear you. We can't see you
All
yet,
right.
but we can hear you.
All right, because you froze up, and I thought, yeah, I'm getting too far away from the Wi-Fi. So green growing days, which I happen to believe in.
Yeah, me too.
Because that's one thing that bees and all these creatures that really interact, these creatures that interact on a year-to-year basis and have a wide swinging variation in temperature, they still have to do their thing, because if they waited too long, they're not going to be able to get their job done.
Right.
All right, so what else we got? Because I could keep going on the boring subjects. I think maybe I hear some snores in the background.
Now, you still got 45 people in. I don't think anybody's snoring yet. One Ton that says so. Big live baits is a pre-spawn tactic. Question mark.
No, not where I do. Small live baits is a pre-spawn tactic. As you get fully into the activity rise coincides. Once you get past this pre-spawn, the activity increase in percentage rises with the temperature of the water. That's almost solely based on temperature of water. So if I'm going to target huge flatheads, let's just say in May, the last thing I need to throw is one of those big donkey baits, because they're just going to bite it at the tail and kind of spit it and leave it, or not bite it at all. Oh, geez, my phone is terrible. I got to try to set this thing up. I'm already down to 10%. It just didn't take. I was like 50% when we started.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I got a problem with it. All right. So, I prefer big donkey baits post-spawn. I mean, that's just that's absolutely my best answer. That is, and post-spawn for flatheads means some in my territory. That means somewhere, depending on where I'm at, and I have a wide variety of topographical locations that I fish. I'm going to say from about mid-July all the way up till like late September.
Yeah.
But before that, in June, when you guys watch my videos, you are going to see me throwing. Oh, geez. I'm not so sure this thing's charging. Yep, 11%. Okay. So you are going to see me throwing stuff. Wow, that's really weird.
Yeah.
Basically 5 to 7 inches long, in the pre-spawn. And
right.
What's going to be goofy is that during this catfish symposium, I don't think it's called a symposium anymore. What's it called? Catfish what? The Steve Douglas thing.
The Catfish Conference?
Yeah. It used to be called the symposium, and I remember stuff from years ago more than I remember it now. But let's just say that the Catfish Conference, I'm going to be talking about listening to the fish. I think that's my second one, or my hell, I don't know. It's either my second one or first one. So basically, I'm going to advise people to get on the water, have a preconceived notion of what you want to do. All right, and that's fine. But with every single anchor, it's an experiment. So
Yes.
I'm going to pay attention. Are flatheads actually biting my donkey baits, or are they biting the small ones? Am I throwing it in their face enough? Am I paying attention enough to where am I going to fish the slower current or the fastest current on the front side? What is the light doing? What is the temperature doing? What is all that stuff doing? I'm going to use some instincts. There's no doubt about it. But there is an absolute formula that every single cat fisherman can follow to catch more and bigger fish. There's no doubt. And it doesn't matter where you're at. You may struggle a little bit more if your flathead population is less, or if your population is smaller, or your population is bigger and fewer, or more numerous and average. There's no, I mean, with the advent of YouTube, everybody can see that everybody's water is not equal. Okay.
Right.
There's no doubt. Everybody's water is not equal, and that's fine. If you're going to make the best of your situation, if you keep your mind open and you feel what's going on. Okay, so I just threw this in a 15 foot of water, 5 feet off the bank, and it tumbles down this ledge to the base of a tree. Is that current acceptable? And see, that's the thing. It's really difficult. When I used to talk to guys that were writing articles, one of the things I tried to make really obvious was the fact that the current is the most important thing in that equation. And they just couldn't extrapolate it. Steve Ryan couldn't extrapolate it. Doug Stange couldn't extrapolate it. I mean, a lot of those guys writing for In Fisherman, North American Fisherman, all that stuff, because it's more of a feel than it is. You can't give a validation in an article to say, okay, this is the right speed. But those of us that catch flatheads consistently and big flatheads, we know that speed. It may be faster on top and then let off on the bottom. It may be too slow, and you're just going to be into Dinkersville or small fish most of the time. But you get that right current, and once you start to get onto that right current, it doesn't matter what river you're on. Flatheads are all the same. It doesn't matter, if you're on the Ohio or you're on there's extenuating circumstances. I mean, you're going to be able to catch big flatheads in the dumbest slow water ever once in a while.
Right.
Or the fastest water ever once in a while. Or you could probably catch a flathead on a 50-pound flathead on a jelly bean once in your life. But if you're going to go out there day after day after day and be able to, put the bait in their face, have a bite within 5, 10, 15 minutes, and pretty much guarantee what's going to go on, you're just going to have to learn that right current, because that's the most important thing. Because that was the most difficult thing I ever learned, was the right speed, because there wasn't anybody telling me you need to find the right speed. I had no idea.
So I'm going to say that every river is different. So there is no right one speed. It's going to be it's going to be a percentage of the current speed in that water. Correct?
It is, but it doesn't. But since a flathead cannot, a flathead. Okay, let's go a little zen right now. So, if I have a flathead in my tank and it spawns with a female, and I have 5 viable small flatheads, they're all 5 pounds apiece, and I spread, and I take one flathead and I put him in the Illinois, which is pretty slow. I take one and put him in the Fox, which is pretty slow. I take one in the Wisconsin, which is pretty decently fast, and I take one in the Mississippi. Okay, so I've split these things up in different rivers, but they're all in the northern tier. I'm still going to find every single one of those flatheads in a certain velocity of current if they can live there. If there's not another flathead just beating them right out of there.
Right.
If you get my meaning.
Yep.
So let's just say those little 5-pound flatheads, they all grow to 50-pound flatheads. And I let them go in the right areas. Wisconsin, Illinois, blah, blah, blah. Keep going. They are still going to prefer about the same velocity of current plus depth plus cover. So that equation doesn't really change. And let's just say we take all 5 of those and we move them to the middle tier. Let's just say we put them in the Kaskaskia, we put them into the Sangamon, we put them into the, Mississippi, and we put them in Missouri, they're still going to prefer that right velocity. They're still going to prefer that swath of speed of current plus this acceptable depth for flatheads, plus the preferable cover for flatheads, no matter where they're at. If you're on the Merrimack River, which everybody's heard of the Merrimack Caverns, right?
No, I haven't.
Okay, the Merrimack Caverns is, I believe it's in Missouri, and I've wanted to fish it forever, and I probably will in the next 2 years. It's mostly everybody tubes it and they drink beer, blah blah blah. But there's a great flathead population. It's fairly clear. The fall is really good. It's blah blah blah, but it's got a great flathead population. But still, you will not find flatheads in Bluecat speed current. Not
sustained.
Not sustained. You will not find them in too slow of current. You can have all the bait in the world. And this kind of frustrates me because I went through this a long time ago. So I spent a lot of time listening a long time ago to find the bait, find the catfish. You still hear that today.
Yeah.
Because in a certain way it's true, but in a certain way it's absolutely a fairy tale, and I'll tell you how. So if you fish like 15 different rivers and you go into the off channel offshoots, maybe you've got a river that has got warm water discharges, maybe you've got a river that's got gravel pits that are attached to it, and all this, and there's plankton galore, and there's so many shad. I mean, you can go in there and throw the throw net 3 times and fill 5-gallon buckets, but there isn't any flatheads in there. Hold on a second. Jeez, I got somebody knocking on my door.
I heard that. Room service.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I want to know the formula too, or that key velocity. I just wrote it down because I want to know.
I think it was mistaken identity.
Oh.
Yeah. It's kind of.
Well, I didn't think there were no tassels or anything of that sort.
Right. So yes, I heard you talking about velocity, and the current velocity ends up being the biggest key factor,
right,
depending on what time of season it is. Pre-spawn, spawn, post-spawn, and then winter period. So the winter period is actually, for all three, they usually prefer the slowest amount of current that they're going to prefer all year. Everybody knows that, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Everybody raise their hand. So
they got to preserve their energy.
Yes, they do, but they don't really. Somehow they don't really think about it. Has anybody noticed that the viscosity of the slime coat is the thickest in the winter?
Never thought of it.
Okay, so whenever you're, let's just say you catch a 30-pound blue in August, they got a pretty thick slime coat.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, you got that maybe 78, 80 degree, 85 degree in August, and all of a sudden it starts going into September, October, November. All of a sudden their slime coat is like almost double, and it's really viscous, and it really sticks to stuff, and it's really, it rolls into balls, and it's like the craziest thing ever. Because, and I believe that they are going through what I believe, and I've tried to coin over the years, is what's called a preservatory period. They are not necessarily bulking up. They're not necessarily doing anything except for surviving.
What'd you guys do?
Well, never dealt with a call before during this. I'm not answering it either, but I can't seem to
I don't know. I don't think I've had that happen before.
No, I haven't either. Kind of late for a call.
Stan, what happens there? Does he have to get back out and back in?
Nope.
Oh, there you are.
It went away. It went away. Okay, so you have preservatory period, which is usually the, by the time they're done with the spawn, they go through their summer period, and then they're going through their winter period to their overwintering period. And then, and that's what we're really dealing with right now. Everybody that's fishing across the country, because we're so far into it, is dealing with the overwintering period, which kind of is a misnomer. All right. So a lot of
basically their winter coat.
Well, yeah, but a lot of people are thinking that winter time is the best time to catch monsters, because a lot of people have more success during the winter. They really do, because you've got fish that actually group up a little bit better. Jeez, right. Back to 10% battery. I don't know what's going on. All right. But the fall, and I'm kind of skipping all over the place. The fall, when a lot of people think that catfish are putting the feed, you've heard it from every article that there ever was printed. The fall time, October, November, they're putting the feed bag on, right?
Yep. I've heard
everybody raise their hand.
Heard that.
Complete, pardon my French, but it's complete bullshit. Because, and how we know this is because catfish, just like every other cold-blooded creature, as soon as the water temperature dips, they actually need less food. All right. The thing about the feed bag myth is that right at post-spawn, they're all spread out. So by the time that water starts to drop, they start to congregate in what I would like to determine, what I like to say is basin holes. That means gentle current. That means large areas of basically slower water, but yet it will bring food. It's kind of like it's kind of like it's kind of like a cul-de-sac, if you think about it. So all the traffic's around the edge of a cul-de-sac, and there's nothing in the middle. They like to kind of hang out in that middle and choose to go to a little bit of the current whenever they want to. And what has kind of built that myth is that people that fish this constant type of area don't have much success. They have a little bit of success throughout the year, but as soon as it starts to get colder, they get more and more success, because there's more and more fish that start to move into these wintering areas. And it seems like I'm splitting hairs here, but I'm not, because I think that magazines and television shows and all this stuff saying, oh, it's the fall feed bag and all this has given us catfishermen the wrong idea that you just need to get out there when the water's cool and you're going to do better, or the fish are running everywhere. There is a period where from summer to fall, when that water temperature is falling, that they are traveling, and you will pick up a few more fish. The thing about what they should have said was that bank anglers now will have access to fish that they normally don't have access to. Okay.
Yeah, there's a few bank guys in here that ask a lot of good questions. So I try
absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
I think right now, with this water comes off, high water, I think is a bank fisherman's, that's their time to shine.
It is. And we know that by empirical evidence. At no other time does the 12-year-old with a Snoopy rod catch a 50-pound flathead 100 yards below a dam, 3 foot of water on a hot dog than high water early part of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, you see that in every single little gas station magazine that there is.
Here's a question I haven't thought of before. Does the oxygen level in cold water versus mild temperatures have an effect on flathead movement?
All right. This is one other thing that's been talked to death. And I'm not saying that I disagree with any of this stuff because there's no absolutes in fishing. But I do know one thing, based on parts per million, there's been people guess that, well, fish build up below dams because of oxygen content. It's complete bull hockey. Unless you're talking about such a small river that it gets really stagnant and really hot downriver.
Right.
Oxygen content only attracts fish up to the level of which the breathing capacity works. Extra oxygen, it doesn't do anything. And we know this through empirical studies that, 100 parts per million, cold water does hold better oxygen. There's no doubt about it.
Right.
Fish that you catch in cold water can stay in your boat for 5 times longer than it can in the hot water. No doubt about that. But does it necessarily, because it's a dam and the water's churned, is it really holding fish because of the oxygen content? No, that's a human. That is us trying to
Rationalize.
say that's why it's happening. I mean, we have a lot of wishful thinking. We do. We have a ton of wishful thinking. And it was stuff I believed in at one time. When Kurt Hicken wrote that, catfish are there because of the bait, they're below dams because of the oxygen content, they're there. No, it has nothing to do with that. It's either acceptable habitat, because I can point you to dams that there's no catfish at all, and there never will be any catfish because they don't have the 3 things in that list. The water's too shallow, the current's too slow, and they don't have any cover. They will visit it for a short amount of time, and then they'll go right back out of it. And there's hundreds of dams like that across the United States.
Right.
There's really good ones, there's mediocre ones, and there's terrible ones. I mean, the White River's got some that won't hold catfish more than about 3 days, but it'll hold giant smallmouth. It'll hold, all kinds of stuff, but it's not going to hold big catfish.
So will catfish? So in our dam, I've been trying to figure out. Some days we'll go up there and we'll mark a ton of fish, and it's got good current, it's got bait, it's got awesome cover. And then some days we just can't find the fish. I'm wondering, are the fish coming in there to feed, or do they actually want to be there? Because I don't feel that they really want to be there, other than it's time to eat.
What river?
It's the Ohio River.
Okay. What section of the country?
The southern Ohio.
Okay.
The very southern tip of Ohio.
Yep. You have what I would classify as pelagic bait fish. Okay. You have highly mobile bait fish, skipjack, moon eye, shad.
Yep.
Your river, I would classify as a medium to slow current river.
Yeah.
Okay. You also, your entire river, for the most part in the lower section, I would classify that as more of a lake pool river. It has current, but it doesn't have constant current all the time.
Yeah.
It has a artificial level held up by the dams in between that doesn't have a great fall off. All right. I'm not criticizing it. That's just what it is.
It is what it is.
So you will have fish that are fluid. It's almost exactly like the Tennessee River. The Tennessee River was a small river dammed to elevated situation.
Mm-hmm.
And they control the flow. So that whole catfish population is fluid, not necessarily that it moves, but their activity level is either up or it's down, depending on the level that's going.
Mm-hmm.
But your bait fish on the Ohio, and I've fished the Ohio quite a few times. I got some friends that do fish the Ohio. They said if they're running current, if it's good, the bite can be fantastic in the same spot on Tuesday, and then crap on Wednesday, and then great on Thursday. Is that not true?
That's true.
Okay.
That's
So
true.
you have a transient population of bait fish but a sedentary population of bluecats or catfish that are keying on optimal running times as far as current. So it's basically the Pavlovian dog response. So once you condition flatheads or channel cats or blues to a certain cycle of water that goes on, and everybody talks about it, the Coosa, the Alabama, all that stuff, they all talk about it. You're not running water, you're not catching fish. Okay.
Yeah, I've heard
Now,
that.
the rivers are a little bit different because they don't actually control them that way. It's like periods of it's longer periods of maybe it's 3-4 day great bite and then 2 or 3 day crap bite. Okay, but those other ones like yours that are and you know what, I should speak a little bit more specifically about this. Certain pools on the Mississippi are very much like the Ohio. The big lake, deep water pools of the Mississippi are very much like the Ohio, very much like the Coosa, very much like the Tennessee. I prefer to run those riverine pools, which were classically below. If you took the dams out, all of them, from stem to stern, all the way from number one all the way down, the ones I prefer to fish are the ones that were the natural waterfall falls areas. So like on the Ohio, where you're talking about the fossil beds, or you're talking about, all that stuff where it's all that crazy water.
Yeah.
That's what I like to fish because they are not as controlled by that amount of water. I mean, they are. Like if you go to Keokuk, you want to fish Dead Man's Hole, and usually you catch, 15 to 20 blues between 30 and 55 pounds. If they shut that water off from 7 to about 4.5, it's black. I mean, it's a bad day at Black Rock. You might as well go somewhere else. Sean and I are, we'll have long faces like you've never seen if they shut that water down. I see Creole saying something. I can barely see it on my phone, but yeah.
He said he could tell my wheels are turning just as his are down there in Louisiana. Wheels are turning. Hey, here, Whisker Stripe says, Tim, you should make epic catfish stickers that say current depth cover below your logo.
You know what? I'm thinking about it, and then I'm going to do the exponentials, because there's about 9 exponentials that go with that, and I haven't even started talking about that yet. I may talk about it next year. Current depth cover equals big catfish, but then there's like the little 2, and then there's like the hashtag and all that. Yeah, so it does get complicated, but that is the simple version of it. Yeah.
Well, I've adapted the KISS model, KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yes, that is a good way to think about it. It really is.
So that optimal. So my brain is still stuck back on velocity for these flatheads, as we talked about releasing them in different areas. So what does that look like then? Because I know that back in my original days, I always thought that the big flatheads wanted that calm, stagnant water, but that's wrong.
Not at all.
Nope, I know.
I thought
when I figured it out, I started catching bigger fish.
Yep, I thought that too. And I experiment. I mean, I threw donkey baits in some of the fastest, dumbest water you've ever seen because I had no idea. I mean, I was trying it all.
Right.
I'd go to the Rock River and fish 3 days and wouldn't catch a flathead over 20 pounds. Now, for most people, that was pretty good, but I'm that guy. I'm the guy that I expect a lot. I have high expectations. I always have, even when I was like young. So Mid-South Catfishing just did his catfish carving thing, about, small fish and these catfish hunters and all, the trophy guys versus the whatever. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with small fish. I still love them. I still appreciate them. I still whatever. And I commented to that fact. But what really drives me is I want to catch Godzilla. I always have.
Yeah,
that's my thing. I mean, I'm a dragon slayer. So what gets me excited is thinking about, okay, what is the biggest possible fish? And I've always thought about this. Okay, so what's the biggest possible fish in the Spoon River? What's the biggest possible fish in the Tennessee River? What's the biggest possible fish, in Santee Cooper? What's the biggest possible fish? Whatever, So I've always been like a dreamer, and I've always been probably the hardest on myself. And
I know that feeling.
yeah. So some guys think, oh yeah, we had a great day. We caught some fish, and I've been there. But as soon as I catch my personal best, and then catch my next personal best, and then catch my next one, it's not like I hate catfishing. I don't. I love it. I love seeing a 3-pound fish, because I know that 3-pound fish might get to be 80 or 90.
Mm-hmm.
That's what drives me. But then again, let's go back to that velocity thing. The velocity thing, at one time, I had no idea. So I had to throw all of it. Since I had to throw all of it, from dead water all the way to the burning fast current, and I had to throw everything from small bluegills and small green sunfish to shad to cut moon eye to this to giant red horse suckers. I've done all of that, and I've fished that main stem of the Mississippi. I've fished the the secondaries and the tertiaries and the tributaries and all of that stuff. Nearly as I can give the best advice on that current is, if you can understand the river underneath the river first, because it's not what is on top. It's not really necessarily what you see, because flatheads love to be in that disguise mode, that thing where that may be fast current over top, but that bottom current is half of what that, 3 feet up. The bottom contour may make it so that there's different currents and different velocities, so that when you throw, you've got a lot of pressure. Oh, and then it just sort of lets up. And I oftentimes say to Sean, and you guys are going to see this in the videos, I oftentimes say to Sean, yeah, this is right, or we're in the zone, or get ready for the donkeys. I mean, that's the kind of stuff we say, because, by the time I'll know when I throw, and it depends, because a guy's got to have a lot of experience to be able to tell whether you're throwing a 3-inch bit, 3-inch, shad, or a shad head and a 6-ounce weight, or a 3-ounce weight and a 5-ounce live bait. You have to have that experience to know, okay, pressure. Oh, it's in the flathead zone. It's it's more of a art than a science, and everybody that catfishes knows that feeling if they've been on the water long enough. So I'm not gonna virtue signal about, yeah, I know the right, the best current and the blah blah blah. Right. Everybody knows. You just got to trust yourself. Everybody knows. If it's too fast, if it's too whatever, you can have a slighter possibility of catching a big flathead. If it's just right and has a good variety of basically current plus depth plus cover, you got the right cover, you got the right depth, you got the right whatever. Because that monkey brain in the back of your head actually has a counter on it when you're a fisherman. You go, am I not right? When you catch a fish, it goes click, click, click. You go, okay, I caught it faster, I caught it shallower, I caught it whatever. But the one problem that we all have is that it doesn't happen for 2 weeks a year, it happens all year. And so we have to separate things based on where we're at, what the time of year is, and what the prime directive, and that's like a Star Trek term, but what is the prime directive of the fish for that period of time. So once you know that channel cats spawn first, flathead spawn second, blue spawn third. Channel cats are this, the shallowest spawners and the fastest spawner. Flatheads like that medium current, medium depth, and then blues like the deepest and the fastest out of all of them. Then you get closer on their prime directive is to eat and make little fish. It's just like the scene in Jaws. That's all this fish does. He eats and makes little fish. That's all they do.
Yep. Yeah, I'm I'm dying to go right now.
Oh, I am too. I'd leave right now. So you just popped up something on your screen. What'd you have? That I just talked right through.
I think it was Stan talking to Kelly on there. So
Okay.
if you keep throwing the right baits in the right locations, it'll come.
That's true. That is. There are things that you can say in catfishing that pretty much, as long as you don't overcomplicate it, and I tend to overcomplicate it because I'm at the and I'm not trying to say anything about myself, but I've been doing it so long,
Right.
and I've went through the paces, and I'm constantly looking for that new thing to get better. Because honestly, out of my top 10 anchors, I haven't beat my top 10 single anchors of all times, and I do have a top 10 list.
Mm-hmm.
I have not beat my top 10 anchors since 2012, even with that last one I just did a video on. So I got 130, I got several 50s or 60s, 30s, 40s, blah, 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 all in the same anchor. That's not even on my top 10 list. Now, am I lucky to do that? Yes, but I also persevered to do it. I learned what I needed to learn. I scratched and I hem-hawed and I talked to people and I constantly overthought, and I second guessed myself and I used different things and I experimented so many different ways to get to this point. So, basically out of that whole thing is that, I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm constantly trying to better that.
Right.
And that's what
a lot of time on the water.
Yeah, there is a lot of time on the water, and I used to do a Robinson Crusoe thing. 5 weeks on the Mississippi River, staying on sandy islands, cooking crappy hot dogs, and basically being sunburnt for 7 days in a row. There was no sunscreen back then. Yeah, I'm blonde as everybody else.
Crazy.
I got purple. There was no sunscreen, and it's too hot to wear sleeves. I just got burnt. I look like Creole's Louisiana thing most of the time.
I think he has permanent sunglasses. He has permanent sunglass coon eyes that never go away.
Yeah. So what's Creole got to say? I can't. It's so small.
He says, "I believe you once said catfish by attrition."
Mm-hmm. Yes, you can catch catfish by attrition, and that there's so many. Oh my! I'm down to 4%.
Uh-oh, what happened? I thought you was charging.
It was charging, and then it all of a sudden doesn't charge. This thing's a mess.
Everybody's eating it up. They're saying they can listen to this every night.
Well, I could keep talking because there's stuff that I forgot that it just might get rustled up in these brains.
I figured you probably forget more by the time you fall asleep than I'll know ever.
No, I mean, yes. My wife does call, and people that know me, they're like, "Yeah, that guy's a whole nother level." So I've met guys that are like crazy fishermen, and they'll like meet my sons and all that, and they'll go, "I like fishing, and you like fishing, but your dad's on a whole nother level." They don't even like to talk. They're just like they try to run, pretty much.
Yeah.
Unless you're really into fishing, don't try to talk to me at the mall.
Yeah, it's
gonna be a bad thing.
It's the same way, and that's why you still got 43 people hanging out in here in chat, because we all have that same blood, all pumping through our veins.
I would like to say one thing. I would like to say that I am, and I've kind of said this before. I'm really impressed with the catfish guys and the knowledge that is going on on YouTube, especially. I don't know anything about Facebook. I don't know anything about anything else, but I do know that it's a different thing than it was 30 years ago. Everybody was an expert that and they didn't know anything, including me. I mean, I'm not saying I was the greatest thing in the world back then, but 30 years ago, nobody listened to anybody. They always just talked. And they were, well, I can catch them in 3 foot of water, or I can catch them in 50 foot of water. There wasn't any search for knowledge or, search for the truth, which made everybody better. But it's pretty obvious by the way that YouTube guys are spanking big fish these days with ease. And there's a lot of things that goes on with that. I mean, there's better equipment, and there's better this, and there's better that. But the knowledge and the willingness to listen is a lot better than it was ever. Do you know a guy by the name of Doc Lang?
Yeah, I fished with Doc Lang.
Okay, so I never really talked with Doc Lang, but Doc Lang is my era. Back in the catfish message board, Doc Lang used to post on that. And I just haven't ran into him, since to say, hey, Doc Lang, this is, what did I used to call myself? Back in the day, it was either, I think it was Catfish Warrior I used to go by. So, yeah, so imagine that. So I was kind of like a young kid on the scene, a long time ago, and, I'm slinging 25 baits on 50 anchors in a day and catching 150 channel cats, doing all wild, crazy stuff. We used to post that board and blah, 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 and I got shad pants that would stand up in the corner by themselves. I got out of some speeding tickets because my pants stunk so bad, because back in those days, Illinois used to make, if you were going to get a ticket, they'd make the state cops put you in the cop car. And I've had state cops go, what does that smell? I'm like, shad pants. Can't you tell I was just blah, blah, blah? They're like, yeah, I'm giving you just a warning. Get out of my car. Matter of fact, I got a buddy that just sent me a picture of those days. And yeah, I got so much shad guts and blood on my pants. It looked like I laid in the oil. It was bad. So anyways, yeah, I would have to say that today's knowledge of catfishing, just because there's YouTube and there's people and everybody's keeping an open mind. I don't hear a bunch of closed-minded stuff like I do in the day. And it's really paying off for people. It really is. There's people that I've seen have only been in 5-6 years, and they're catching like monster fish. I think it's awesome.
Because so many myths and wives' tales have been busted. Yeah. Everything you think you know, you don't know. Yeah. And as soon as you close your mind, you're done. Your potential, you've already met it.
Yep.
And
that's huge. That's huge, because it will lead you down the right road instead of down a bad road. And you will waste a lot of time down a bad road. I know. I've been there. Been there, done it.
That's the thing. That's and we're grateful because we got guys like you and Doc Lang and so many others that have put in the time and the work, and instead of bottling it all up and said, no, I earned all that. I worked my ass off that information. They're giving it away for free, and guys like me and everyone else here in chat and many others that aren't here tonight are eating it all up because we're like, holy crap, this is the good stuff.
I paid for it with 1,000 sunburns and a lot of gas and a lot of horrible bait situations. I mean, oh my gosh, I used to go to places without bait and try to throw. You know how many throw nets I have at the bottom of like 30 rivers? It's the craziest thing ever. I mean, back in those days, you can only buy like a 3.5 foot throw net, but I lost the hell out of them. I bought them, lost them, didn't know. I mean, just throwing in dumb areas and just. I have crashed more boats than most people own. Oh yeah,
that's not bad.
Big rocks and this and that. Oh yeah, I mean hitting. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I think the boat I have right now is the 9th boat, and I the boat I had before this, I put a dent in it the size of a muskmelon, and that was in the corner of a sea arc, an 1872 1/8 inch thick sea arc.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not good.
I'm
Hey,
not saying I'm just-
what's your battery level down to?
My battery, it's up to 4%, but I'm holding it by the balls.
I can tell whenever your battery gets low, you can tell the mic gets a little cracky. That's why I was wanting to make sure.
Yep. You got Whiskers.
Yeah, he said the previous stream, Tim touched on the colors of blues, darker when they have been in shallows, lighter in the depths. How long does that take for them their pigment to change?
Generally 3 days. And the only reason I know that is because I put them in tanks. I couldn't tell you on a general river, but if I take a black one, but like all black, put it in a dark cooler, he will change. And as long as there's no light on him, he'll change pretty much back to almost white in about 3 days. And the opposite happens the other way. It's a suntan, but it's not. It's almost like like an octopus can change color.
Yeah,
they have the ability to change not color but hue. That's darkness versus lightness. It's all basically the same color. They don't change from orange to black or orange to blue. It's
right.
the hue or the intensity, if you want to talk like artistic stuff.
Skip says
I'm gonna try to
your
do a video.
sacrifice.
What's that?
I said Skip in here, Clearview Outdoors says, thank you for your sacrifices, Tim. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Stan says fishing with Epic is not for the weak of heart.
No, actually, I'll tell you a story. When I used to guide, I would have to vet people. So I would take them to the easiest stuff first, and I would literally have to decide whether they could go to the Mississippi with me or not, whether it be Keokuk, whether it be Quincy, whether it be Meyer, whether it be Alton. And I wouldn't just like tell them, no, you can't go, but I wouldn't promote it. If I didn't think they could hang at Alton, I would not promote it. And they know because it would take a couple of years for them to be able to prove that they can hang at the ones, especially if I was going to turn into Captain Ahab. And that's kind of more of it than anything, because if the bite's tough, look out. I might require someone to stay all night till the next day. Now, I don't do that as much since I'm old now, but when I was 25, look out. I stayed on a dam wall for 3 days and never left once.
Jeez. Holy
Because
cow.
if I left, somebody was going to take my spot, and the flatheads might turn on that, the third day or the fourth day. It took me 4 hours to get there and a lot of preparation. I was just like, yeah, that's not going to happen. And believe me, out of those 3 days, there was like 9 boats that came up and hovered around to wait until they could try to take my spot. I'm like, you ain't getting it, because I got here and I'm fishing. But you know what? Every time I did it, it usually paid off in a huge fish.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you waited them out. They had no choice.
Well, that's kind of when I was going through my whole thing, figuring out whether big fish actually fed every day. And I know they don't, because I've caught the same fish on 3-day increments on the Mississippi River, where I fished the same piece of cover. I caught nothing else, but I caught a Desert Storm looking fish missing half the adipose fin and one eye. 3 times. On man, I'm down to 2%.
That charger ain't keeping up with you.
No, it's bad. I'm gonna have to get a new one. It's terrible. Well, anyway, while we're talking about that, I might as well get off here. Hey, I'll just join back in the chat, because I really enjoy it. I really enjoy the people that are involved in chat. I think they all have a great situation. It doesn't matter if they're catching monsters or not. I think everybody enjoys the fact that they could possibly catch some monsters someday. But dude, these guys are a joy. I mean, geez, you got Peace. I mean, I could just start naming them off. Every one of them, they're in some great situation. I love watching all their videos. Sean sends them to me. I mean, shoot, when I first got on YouTube, I didn't know anything. I found a lot of dumb stuff.
Right.
But then I started, Sean started sharing with me some good catfishermen, and they're doing their thing, and I got excited about it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of great channels out there. There's a lot of great channels still hanging out here with me now, and
Yep.
a lot of diehard fishermen and women that love to just get out there and push themselves, and ultimate chess game.
It is. It is. It's you know, and it's as complicated or as simple as you want to play it. And I mean, you can level up if you want, or you can level down and just relax. And sometimes I wish I could just level down.
Yeah, I was gonna say level down ain't in my vocabulary, man.
No, it's not in mine either. It's not. It just never has been. It's you know, you know, yeah. We come for the donkeys, and that's what we do.
That's me. We're fishing for the biggest fish in the river every single time we go.
You know, I want to catch
What?
one that would actually be able to fight the epic super monster. That's the one I want to catch. I don't know that I'll ever see that, because that thing was a war horse. That thing had the biggest mouth, the biggest jaw, the most horrible demeanor I've ever seen in a fish. That 120 or 130 pounder, whatever it may be. But
Big.
and I've caught fish of that caliber, but that one right there was the closest to a Godzilla that I've ever caught. I've caught other ones that, you know, look, they have the silhouette of a regular. This one didn't. This was dimorphic. It was monstrous. It was dinosaurish. It was awesome.
Yes.
And I want to catch one that could fight that one and live or beat it. That's my dream. I'm ready for 140 or 150 or 160. Bring it on. Bring it. Send it. Bring it. Do it. You know.
Have you ever had any interest in a Wales catfish?
Oh yeah. I just shared Yuri Cindy's last video on the Wells cats. Yeah, at one time I wanted to bring some to the United States. Yeah, I was a little young and dumb then. Yeah, I did. I did go to South America, and I was able to catch some Piraeba, Brachyplatystoma philomosum. I was actually able to catch some large red tails and some other things. Some catfish they called them barbershot, which means old man with long beard. They had these really long barbels, like a foot and a half, and they were prehensile, and they would actually touch you in the face because they're trying to figure out what you are. I wish I had video back in the day. Oh yeah, just some of the craziness. A palmetto, which looked like it was a catfish, only he was more aerodynamic. They inhabited the upper column on the Xingu River. They didn't hang around the bottom. They hung around from 30 to like 0, and they had like a Cookie Monster mouth. It was the craziest thing ever. And they like jumped like target.
Really?
And they were catfish. Yeah. Just stuff that people have obviously caught them, but they never really talked about them much. I did not catch Jau. I wish I would have. We tried, but it just didn't work. We were only there. The whole trip was 7 days. And you only get 3.5 days of fishing. Is that not disappointing?
Yeah, that'd break my heart.
Yeah. I almost didn't come home. If I wouldn't have had a wife and a 1-year-old child, I would have come home. You guys would be speaking Portuguese to me.
No, we'd all be learning Portuguese then.
Right. When it's necessary, fishing language, you can learn Portuguese in a short amount of time. You can learn what deep and shallow and piranha and all that stuff. They don't say piranha. They don't talk like we do. It's piranha. That's how everyone says it in South America. But everybody says it piranha here. There's a whole lot of cool differences. But I'll tell that story one day of going to the river.
Well, I'll remember to bring that up then, because that trip there sounds like an awesome story. Red-tailed catfish, I'm gonna stand. That's one of my bucket list fish.
Yep, they're badasses. They are.
Yeah.
And
well,
I'll give you a hint right now. They actually have a language in which they talk to each other in rudimentary ways. It's a shrill, vibratory, shrill warning call. And I was actually lucky enough to be on one of the sand beaches when 2 to 3 of them were actually fighting each other in about 9 foot of water. And I know this because I used to own one too, and then I introduced another one, and I could get them to do that shrill call just by crowding them. It's pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen them caught before in the boat, and they just carrying on, making all kinds of noise.
Yeah, that actually is a fact of how their mouth plus their I would say how their gill plates attack, get onto their body, and it sounds like a grunting. Now, Piraiba actually do growl.
I've heard the Piraiba on river monsters or whatever.
On the Wait, they actually do make a growl. The red tails actually just make sort of a kind of a farting noise. If you really want to know the truth.
Basically.
Yeah, they do. But they're heavily armored. They look like our catfish.
Yeah.
But all their catfish, but the Jau and the barbershot, have shark skin. They're actually very rough. It's almost like I would equate it with like 50 grit sandpaper.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually tap on a red tail's skull all the way back up to the dorsal fin, and it's actually bone plated. It's pretty cool.
That is wild.
And I hope everybody gets the opportunity to go there at some time, no matter where they go, whether it's the Xingu, the Negro, the Black, whatever, any tributary, or the main river Amazon. If you actually do get a chance to go, if it's safe enough, you should, because it is out of this world, and it's something you'll never forget. And I was just lucky to do it when I was young. Shoot, I was like 31 years old when I got the chance to go. And I mean, I saw giant toads eat tarantulas. I saw howler monkeys that looked like 10-year-old hairy kids. I mean, we took a 60-mile van, a 4-wheel drive van ride that took us 6 hours, because every time we came to a washout on the logging road, we had to get planks of Honduras mahogany, which were 3 inches thick and 14 inches wide off the top, straddle them, and then drive over this chasm with this 4-wheel drive van. And luckily, we didn't slide off and go down the ravine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was quite crazy. In a country that has a 2-lane highway, but yet there's like 9 lanes of traffic, and a stop sign is merely a suggestion. Yeah, that's a wide awake. It's an eye-opening experience.
Yeah, that sounds like a crazy adventure, but one I would love to endure.
Yep. But when you're young and wide-eyed and all this, and I had dreams of catching stuff that was as big as a bus.
Yeah, I'm getting to the point now where I could probably get back into something like that.
I gave my South American rod to a friend of mine who fishes sharks in Florida, but I'm getting it back this April. And you guys are all going to get to see the same rig that I took to the Xingu River and caught red tails and Piraiba on all those years ago.
Heck yeah. That would be awesome.
What's that?
I said that would be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool.
It's kind of off there, but Kelly asked if you'd ever caught a grouper.
I have not. I want to, and every time I've had the chance, it's been too stormy. I mean, I've been to Florida quite a few times, caught some peacock bass, I've caught some cobia, I've caught some crazy kind of offshore stuff, but I've never caught a grouper. And that's one of the things I want to do. I've never caught a Goliath grouper. Let me take this back. I've caught smaller groupers on like spinning stuff, and that's why I say this is like a grouper when I was fighting that 130. that just is what it is.
Yeah, I said this. Sounds like you and Jeremy Wade probably crossed paths at some point in life.
No, the closest I heard about Jeremy Wade was I did hear of Jeremy Wade probably, God, it's got to be 15 years ago now. And I heard of him travel because I did know some European guys that's what they did, is they got to travel around and go fishing all these crazy places. Mm-hmm. And one of them did mention Jeremy Wade. And I never thought anything of it until I saw him on the show, and I was like, yeah, that's cool. Kind of heard of him. I mean, it's not like I heard like a resume or I didn't talk to him or anything, but I did hear like maybe a third person report of that.
Right. That
Jeremy was like a, psycho that fished everywhere.
Sounds like you.
Yeah. Yeah. And if I would have had like any kind of like money back in the day, I would have fished a lot more places. I would have been showing you pictures of Wells cats because that is one of the things. But I was kind of on a young guy's budget. Is what I was on. I mean, that's why I stayed on islands.
Yeah, that's my budget now.
Yeah, it pretty much is mine because you've seen my two boys. They eat more than like 5 men.
Yep, I used to be one of the hungry teenagers. My metabolism slowed down, and now I'm fat.
Yeah, me too. I didn't really get any sort of like fatness going until I was like 45, and then just all of a sudden it just showed up. I was like, oh, geez, this isn't good.
Yeah. Well, it looks like we got a few folks tuning out, and I know you've been fighting your phone there for a long time.
Yeah,
just going.
Yeah, like trying to hold the umbilical cord in, and I've been maintaining it at 2% now for like 20 minutes.
I can tell. Like I said, when the battery gets low, the audio gets cracky. So
yep.
My phone does the same thing. That's how I know my battery's getting low. People start saying that the audio is rough, but we'll probably just go ahead and shut her down and let you get some sleep.
All right, Muskrat. I'm not gonna sleep. It's only like 11:15 here. I'm gonna be
that's what we got here.
Think about all that stuff now.
Yeah, I just got word that somebody fell through the ice here on our local lake.
Oh, just looked at 1%. I'm giving her all I've got, Captain.
Well, if we lose you, we'll all be tuned in Friday for Stan's show, and we're looking forward to that.
Oh, don't forget, I'm doing 2 things on the Catfish Conference. I think I got one at like 12 something, and I've got one at like 4:30. That's Saturday.
Yep, everybody will be sure to tune in for that one as well.
So Stan's got one going on Friday. Did I already commit to that?
As far as I know.
Yeah.
If you didn't, you did now.
I'm pretty sure I did.
So, all right, buddy. Well, we'll let you get your phone charged up at least.
I don't know if that's going to happen. It's looking pretty futile. All right. Talk to you guys later.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Guys, thank you guys all for being here. Thanks for hanging out with us. Another Tuesday night. Another great show again tonight. Of course, 2 great guests tonight. Had Adam on here from Fishing for Freedom, and then Tim joining us for what always turns out to be a great show. And so appreciate everybody being here. If you haven't had a chance to hit the thumbs up, please do so. If you get an opportunity to share it across your favorite channels, be sure to help spread the word and help us grow. We're up to 779 awesome subscribers in our new Catfish family. So appreciate what you guys are doing to help the channel. Appreciate. We had a couple of donations come in tonight to help support the channel, so those are always welcome and appreciated. So thank you very much. And so with that being said, we'll be here next week. Same cat time, same cat channel. We'll see you then. Thanks, y'all.